side. I've been knocked out, was a nice try, but I guess I get to keep my head on this time. God of the creation, the relations I've got, the only one that keeps me safe, the only one you should trust. For sure, it ain't right that I have checked the speck of dust from all of its sides. Fall down, that from my height, cause I didn't see the plank I have in my eye. What you hear in yourself when no one's to be found? What keeps you eased out? What takes you off your mind?
Guess you want this, I want this. Everybody in this, we should have it. Stop illusions, it's in your hands. Show yourself, reveal it to them. Take the time to recognize it. You won't leave me even if I tried it. You're the artist in the mess and happily perform the new in your hands.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette. Yeah, ride around the city with a stick all black. Try with a stove, but we ain't with all that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Made $1 million and I can't go back. Got a lot of jewelry on me, man, you can't hold that. 12 asking better, tell him that I ain't so crack. Know your money long when your people can't afford that. I'm ballin', yeah. My mama told me that did my calling. I keep that stick, I don't do no brawling. Open out the doors and let them all in here. Yeah, they all in here. Ooh, big dog. We come out the pound, so we big dog. Heavy paddock on me, break my wrist off. I'm young out of rocket, about to lead dog. 3, 2, 1, I got big dog status, I'm a big dog vet.
What is up, creators? Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast with me, your hostess, the mostess, Diana Glady. I'm super pumped and excited to be here this week, as I always am. Hope you're having a fantastic week. I hope you had an awesome week. And if it was not maybe the best that it could be, I hope that the weekend brings that incredible joy, just that wonderful goodness that we all need. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep it good, Phillies, you know what I'm saying, out here in these real and digital streets. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea, or maybe you don't like either of those and you're into the more healthy stuff, whatever floats your boat or finds your lost remote. Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast. Whatever your questions are, put a Q, colon in the chat, and I'll be sure to get to those at some point, allegedly, throughout the live stream. I have this ongoing record that we've been doing now for years of answering every question that gets posted in the chat. So even if you have to dip out and go to work, because I know some of y'all go hide in the bathroom so you can be on the stream, you do what you got to do, okay? We can't be held liable, but you do what you got to do. So drop your questions in the chat and we'll be sure to get to those. But of course, this week we had the incredible-ish kind of a launch that we've been waiting for a long time. And mixed emotions, to say the least, for a lot of you all. I know the decision fatigue is high right now out here in these real and digital streets, and I want to kind of help with some of that this week, because yesterday started off for the pre-orders if you wanted to get in on that, and they weren't available everywhere. B&H Photo Video that I'm aware of, Adorama is usually included in that, and then usually the other major camera stores usually tend to catch up to speed, but it's usually like a day or so after the fact, so you're not necessarily behind if you didn't pre-order. And sometimes, quiet as kept, it's better to just buy it when it comes out, because there'll be plenty in stock, allegedly. But that's what happened with the Mark 1. Got sitting over here looking cute. That's what happened with the Mark 1, and it's like, I told y'all, better get it. It's gonna be a hot seller. And I think, and I believe, for my own reasons, that the Mark 2 will also be a hot seller, just like the Mark 1 was, but for different reasons. Let's say hello to you all in the chat on the stream. We're doing something a little different this week. We're live on the Instagram. So if you are live over on Instagrams, Cindy, Marie, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Just Glory _N. Good to see you on Instagram. Glad that you're here. Brittany N CON. Good to see you. Mata _photography, something like that, out here in these real and digital streets. All right, Instagram, you're here. And another Diane is here as well. Good to see you. All right, so let's see who we got over here in the chat. K-Walk Comedy, always a pleasure to see you. Principal Walker, just saying my ink pen ran out of ink long time ago. No, don't know what I'm gonna do about that, but I'm just saying. Christopher Ragland, good to see you. Saying, what up, fam? Good to see you, brother. Glad that you are here. Paul Mitchell, photo and video, saying, getting my coffee now. I'm telling you, brother, the day starts better with that perfect cup of coffee. I am not an addict, but I am an aficionado with it. Okay, if the cup don't taste right, I'm pouring it out and I'm starting over, because it's like the day already gonna have a mixed bunch of stuff happening. A bad cup of coffee is not going to be included in that equation, okay? So get your cup ready. Let's get into it. David Hunt saying, yep, whatever floats your boat or finds your lost remote. And you found your lost remote. Kudos to you. You know, I appreciate y'all going along with my shindigs and whatnot. Connecting to the net, saying, yay, thanks, Diana, for sharing with us. Can you turn your mic volume up? Absolutely. Actually, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because saying my computer is on blast and you're still soft. So let's do that right now. Let me turn the music down. So what happened last week, I did a show over at Social Media Examiner. And so sometimes the audio is a little bit off, and come to find out, my XLR cable was going out. I've never had that happen before, but that cable's like several years old. And so I had to swap the cable out. So as far as I can see on my end, audio is looking good, looking great. But y'all let me know. We can turn it up a smidgen more. I just don't want to blast nobody, you know, if I get the cackling and the whatnot. And then let me know the music is good on your end and stuff like that as well. All right. So I don't know if I can see comments over on Instagram, but we'll see. And I know as far as the comments, y'all won't be able to see that well over on Instagram unless I like make them uber small. So there's a little bit of something there for us to play with. T. Davis up here in the building. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. And then also connecting to the net, you said that it's a little soft. Check the YouTube volume for the video, because sometimes that can be adjusted. But let me know if y'all can hear me good. Audio's great on your end. Everything on my side is saying that the audio is amazing, but I can cut it up a smidgen more and whatnot. I just don't want to blast y'all, but we should be gravy good to go. But let me know. Alrighty, let's see here. David Harvey official saying, I definitely still love my ZV-E10 Mark 1, the Sigma lens, but this is calling me. See, the decision fatigue right now, like I said, it is high.com. It is high. Saying I'm staying with my ZV-E10 Mark 1 for now, ... Well, here's the thing. Let's have that conversation. Let's talk about the Mark 1 versus the Mark 2 for the Sony ZV-E10 and it just coming out, and whether or not it actually is worth it. Because y'all know, even though we'll talk about a lot of gear, I will try a lot, but I'm going to buy very few. And what I buy, I tend to keep and use for a long time. Even once I add it, I'll add something to the lineup, but I won't necessarily switch whatever my priority is. So y'all know we rocked the A6400 since 2019 and only recently dropped that off in the last year. Roll with the ZV-E10 Mark 1 since it came out day one, and use that up until I switched to the ZV-E1, the full frame camera. And so like I'll have different ones, try them or whatever, or if I need multiple ones depending on what I'm doing. I'm really at a setup now where I only really need 1 or 2 cameras. So I don't personally need a lot. Will I try a lot? Sure. But will I buy? I don't have gas like that. Okay. So, but let's talk about it. Mark 1, you have 6K video that's squeezed, as I like to say, it's squeezed down into 4K. So even though it is that older 24 megapixel sensor, you're still getting something that's awesome in 4K. And let's not get it twisted. If you go to Becky and Chris's YouTube channel, they are a good representation, as well as Jason Morris, brother from another mother over across the pond. He actually is really, really great. I like to look at people that are amazing, like cinematographers. They're into filmmaking and stuff, because what that will expose to you is what is your camera capable of? What does it make possible? Even if our skill level is further down the food chain, if you will, what does it make possible? All right. And so based on that, it's like, now I want to see, okay, with my skills that I currently have, what does that make possible? What can I do to enhance that or improve that, or whatever the case is? You know what I'm saying? So Becky and Chris have amazing footage. A6400 Same sensor, A6600, same sensor, ZV-E10, excuse me, Mark 1, this camera, okay? Many of us have this. Amazing camera. It does the job, okay? In my shoe, let me convert y'all real quick. In this next year, I plan to fully flip the entire community to MI shoe community, because not using the 3.5 millimeter cable doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I promise you it is. The DJI mics, I think, is going to be on a whole other level, but put an asterisk next to that. But the sensor in this camera, yes, it's older. Yes, it has rolling shutter. Yes, it is not stabilized. Yes, it hashtag all the things, right? But the reason that this was great, because we recently got access to Sony Catalyst Browse. And I say recently because it's only been a couple years. In the tech space, that's really not that long. So you can take it into literally being gimbal-like, even though there's nothing in here. So unfortunately, now when we move over to the Mark II, it's a 26 megapixel sensor, the same that's coming from the illustrious FX30 into the A6700, and now down to the ZV-E10 Mark II. Still doesn't have IBIS in this last iteration, and it is at 4K 60. With the Mark I, you're looking at 4K 30p. And I think that's not a bad move. It's one of those things where, even with me picking the Sony ZV-E1, matter of fact, real quick, let me adjust something real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna get really close to you uncomfortably, so just 1 second. Make sure my stuff is together. Okay, are we good and golden? There we go. All right. My bad. But even when I got the ZV-E1, I'm looking at the cameras that are out there. I'm looking at the possibilities of what's going to happen in APS-C, because that is one of the things that honestly made me switch from APS-C, my beloved APS-C. I didn't want to leave, but I didn't have faith that they were going to do the lineup justice as much as I would hope. I was wrong. I'm glad to be wrong in these instances. A6700 came out, FX30 came out. It was like winning the football, like, what do you call it? I'm aging myself in this moment. What do you call it? The freaking football big championship thing. Oh my gosh, what is that word? Super Bowl. Holy cow. It's like winning the Super Bowl. I literally was that excited, running around the house, screaming, literally, which that is not my characteristic, but screaming, excited, like, yes, we finally got it. It's like, oh my gosh. That's the only time I've had that kind of reaction in like the A7S III, but I also knew I wasn't gonna buy that camera. It wasn't creator centric. This camera is. Had the A6700, had it in the office for a while and tried it out. Amazing. And I think a lot of people that are disappointed with the Mark II specs are going to go look at the A6700, because that is only a few $100s difference to get that 4K 120 and not just be stuck at 4K 60. And the thing about that is this: a lot of people make comments around like, oh, you don't need that. You don't know, this is a vlogger's camera and blah, 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 blah. That's how they all sound to me when I read them in the comments. It's like they're grumbling, right? Okay, well, who are you to decide what somebody needs? Who are you to decide what somebody's capable of, or what they will be capable of in the next couple years? Who are you to make that decision and qualification? And let's not get it twisted. Just because a camera is marketed to vloggers doesn't mean that that is the intended use case you might use it for. Ignore whatever the marketing gimmick. If any gimmick ever happens with a camera, it's with the marketing. Look at the specs and look at your goals, and that's how you decide what camera you're gonna buy. Because honestly, I can see a ton of people getting the Mark II for the ZV camera because creator centric, lightweight, is gonna have that same ZV style body design, which I personally prefer over a body design like the A6700, because it's extra weight that I don't feel like carrying. I carried the ZV-E10 for 2 years nonstop. It was my go-to camera. Got rid of my A6700, a much more expensive camera that had IBIS, same sensor, whatever. The experience of actually creating content with your camera differs based on the external shell, in addition to the internal firmware, and now how it's curated. Because are you doing more hybrid specific stuff, or are you doing more video creator centric stuff. As a personal, well, that's personal. How about to say not like a personal trainer, but as a speaker, and I'm the person dealing with the camera, recording my own talks, recording my sessions, recording the Q&As later, vlogging that trip and that experience. Those different pain points that I'm having as a content creator, making content about the stuff that I'm doing, or when I'm paid to speak, or I'm paid to teach, or I'm paid to do a course, there are elements of that that make this kind of a camera make more sense to me than an A6700, because it's not always about the specs or, you know, like the price. Otherwise, I honestly, 100% honestly, never could see myself spending $2,000 on a camera, ever, because I'm like this, it should be doable at this price point. If I had to start over today, and I'm looking at all the options on the tables, and we're gonna get through the comments, and Instagram, I'm gonna pull y'all up as well. I don't think it's gonna show me on desktop, but I'll see what I can do on mobile and see if I can pull that up. But if I'm looking at the specs, if I'm looking at my intended use case, and you have to put yourself in the shoes of how you intend to create, what kind of stuff you do, what frustrates you, what annoys you, and what are some of the things that you wish that you can do, but you can't. And not like, I wish I could do X, Y, and Z. Like, everybody would love to do that helicopter stuff, feet hanging out the side. I would never do the feet hanging out the side bit because that's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much. Okay, I get nervous on roller coasters that I don't tie my shoes tight enough because I'm like, if my shoe flies, nobody's going to get it for me. I'm walking around the park shoeless, okay? It's been a fear of mine since I was a kid. I'm like gripping my toes in the shoe. I'm like, so, you know, it depends on what your goals are. But if you are that kind of creator, you like, I want to have amazing experiences, I want to travel, I do want to be the person that has my feet hanging out the helicopter and do hashtag all the things, yeah, maybe an A6700 is more your jam. Maybe you are taking photos. I never take a photo unless it's a thumbnail or something like that, or like family stuff occasionally, but not even like that for real. Photos mean zilch to me. My personal preference, my personal use case. Yours may be different. So don't get lost in the sauce of what everybody says online and get converted over based on what someone says, including me. Y'all know, if you interacted with me in the comments, I'll tell you the same thing. Don't get lost in the sauce about what you're seeing online versus what your actual use case is, because everybody online can convince you on how they're using it and how you need to buy it based on their intended use case, and yours is different. And then you buy something and you're pissed off that this is not right, and you're like, oh, those YouTubers scam me. All those creators online, they're a bunch of liars. Shoot, for real, it's like, not really. Nobody's trying to scam you. Nobody's trying to hate on you. Just got to make sure that your intended use case makes sense. See if I can pull up the Ngram on the phone, and we get to the comments in the chat. It's like, we don't just have to talk about this all day. I just usually try to pick a topic and then go from there of what y'all want to discuss. All right, so I have no idea how this Instagram live works. It's my first time using it. We'll figure this out together. All right. So let's see. David saying, definitely Joy. I want to talk about the lenses as well. Plan to code saying, what are the ZV-E10 Mark II specs for streaming over USB-C? Is it 4K 30 frames per second? Yes. So if you're going to be streaming on this camera via USB-C, which that side panel will no longer look like this. Well, the doors are still kind of like got that rubber hingy thingy baba, but this whole side panel looks the same way like the A6700 and Sony ZV-E10. It just has that rubber bit so you can kind of pull it back, and I like that better because this feels like you'll break it over time, like on my ZV-E10. So that changes. You get the updated thingy baba there. So USB-C is no longer capped. You're getting a higher resolution, but make sure you also get better cables. So you can do that up to 4K 30. I don't know why 4K 15 frames per second is a thing there, but that's there. But yeah, you can do the USB streaming. Something that hasn't been talked about that I'm still looking for more information on, at least until I get the camera in my hands myself, is the network streaming that they're talking about. Because this is what I saw on the promo video that I was questioning, like, does this make sense to stream? Like, are we streaming through the app, or how is this working with this network streaming? Are we doing this through our phone in some other way? Nobody covered that I found. So if y'all did have somebody that went in depth into that, let me know who, because I would love to check that content out. I did not get the embargo camera or whatever, and haven't ever. yet, but I want to wait until I get my hands on it because I have some other questions, concerns about that. 4K 30p is dope. Just make sure you have a data capable cable that is fast with the data transfer so that you can see and get that stuff instead of, otherwise you'll be like every few seconds kind of glitchy, or you're slow, or whatever the case. I had somebody actually leave a comment on one of the older Sony M50 videos that I did on USB live streaming there. I only use Ecamm Live, using Ecamm Live right now. I only use Ecamm Live because they have their stuff set up so USB streaming is native even before any of the camera manufacturers got it together. Ecamm was doing it natively. So use that with a dope cable. I like the Condor blue ones. Those are really good. Just stay under like 10 feet or something like that, it is, whatever it is, and that should work great. Saying audio is perfect over here, clear this way, awesome. Saying impulsive purchase for me, maybe. Likely. That could be a likely thing. What my impulse buys? Books. As you can see, if any of y'all watch that show, what's it called, like The Boys or something like that on Prime Video, my brother was like, oh, that's your sister Sage or whatever. And then it was like last week, right after stream, somebody's like, it's Sister Sage, and I'm like, who? So as you can see, my impulse buys, if you can see it on this side, all books. That side, outside of the frame, even more books. Those are my impulse buys, 10 toes down all the time. So I upgraded my ZV-E10 Mark 1 with the Sigma 18 to 50 lens. That is going to be the biggest pro, honestly, to stay in APS-C, lenses all day long. 18 to 50. The Sigma is killing it. Sigma is absolutely crushing it. If they could have figured out how to do the OSS or that optical steady shot in the lens, I would trust Sigma or Tamron to figure it out. But Sigma has been absolutely crushing it for lenses. And if you are into vlogging, the best vlogging lenses for Sony are APS-C. Even on the full frame camera, I'm still beholden to APS-C lenses because they're still small, lightweight, they fit the vibe. I don't know who has vlogging lenses like huge, the size of this thermos, using that for vlogging on an everyday thing. There are those out there, like Peter Lindgren, but Peter Lindgren out there in Sweden, like he used that big long. I'm not out there, I'm not trying to do all that out here in these real digital streets. I want small, easy, lightweight, compact. 10 to 18 f4 OSS is probably going to be the best with this setup. I don't know if I trust non-stabilized lenses for this Mark II. Like if you're on the Mark 1, stabilized lenses all day if you need to vlog, and that's one of the only saving graces, unless you use Catalyst Browse, and then at that point it's going to be Bees Knees Hall of Fame. Let's see here. Will the Mark II overheat when streaming 5 to 6 hours using USB-C on a tripod and a dummy battery, not recording, just streaming? So here's the fun fact about this whole overheating debacle where we're at right now. The cameras need one thing: airflow. So it could be more doable because I'm seeing less of an issue with that. But I still think people are going to run into that even with the high heat mode setting enabled, more so than they ever did on the Mark 1. I never did, except for when I had like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, sitting in the dash in a car. We were driving up to New York from Albany, and Docker and I were in the car, and I had it like connected to my phone. Like I had everything running. And it went for a while, and then it's like overheat. And I'm like, oh, that's new. I had the camera for like over a year at that point. So overheating will probably be a thing, whether you're live streaming, whether you're recording, it doesn't matter. The camera's on, it's generating heat, especially because at the USB live streaming, okay, you're doing the 4K 30 frames per second, amazing, but you're also going to be looking at, even with the dummy battery, it doesn't matter. It's still some power current going through there. So it's not just like a cold battery scenario, if you will. I'm using a dummy battery right now with my ZV-E1. I always live stream via HDMI. This is my personal preference. But you're also via USB-C. It can charge and send that signal through for live streaming on the ZV-E10 Mark II. So you're still going to have power and stuff coming to it, whatever resolution that you're using. So you're still going to be generating heat. If you're running 5 to 6 hours, get a camera fan. That's going to be my recommendation until I see a camera body that is ZV centered and they, without any kind of specific adjustments to anything, no overheating like we have done, but the video resolution and specifications in cameras are overperforming what's possible right now. The only reason we got past that, because it used to be an issue way back in the day, it used to be an issue, but turn that high heat setting off in your camera and you will find out it does not actually solve the issue of overheating. It is still a challenge in 8-bit cameras. Turn off the high heat setting. But, and I'm saying specifically with like Sony or what have you, turn it off and it will overheat. High heat setting got introduced to allow the camera to ignore it unless it gets to a point to where it may, you know, maybe cause a deterioration in the image or damage to it or whatever the case is. Not the case right now, no. You know, you're fine. I think it'll be some settings that are better than others. My go-to 4K settings, whatever I'm doing, is going to be the H.265. I do love still the 422 10-bit. I'll do like the 420 8-bit or even 420 10-bit or whatever when I'm streaming, or just do the XAVC-S. Probably speaking a bunch of jargon to y'all right now, but you'll see it in the camera settings. We've done this before on the stream where I turn on my camera settings and we natively go through that in real time. So that may be something that we do on the live stream so y'all can actually see what all of that different stuff looks like, how it impacts it and things like that. But we've done that before on the live show where I just turn on the settings on my camera so you can see that we did it actually not that long ago. Maybe it's been a little bit long, but not that long ago. Saying, thanks for the learning curve. I had the wrong speakers on. All is well now with the volume. Awesome. Saying, is this live or a video? I am live. As you can see, Sam Lou just pulled your stuff up. So your comment saying, is it a video? No, this is just great quality live streaming using Ecamm Live. Let's see. What's up, Ravens? Talk with Yolanda. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Super Bowl. I couldn't think of it to save my life. Super Bowl, go Ravens. You know what? Ever since the Rams left St. Louis, I'm just not even interested in football no more. I'm just like, go Cardinals and the heck with everything else, because I'm just disappointed. And then they left and start winning. Difference in coach makes a world of difference, but I'm just saying it really annoyed the crap out of me. Annoyed the crap out of me. They left and I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. You do what you want to do. I don't care. I'm over it. I'm not over it, but I feel like, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so I can see comments on Instagram on desktop. Okay, that's what's up. Steve Burr Holt Key saying hi from the UK, editing DaVinci Resolve while I listen. Dope.com. Can't wait to hear what your thoughts are. Okay, that was from Cindy. Okay, so I can see the comments on Instagram on here. Okay, cool. They ain't want to give me access early, so I'm finding out late to the party. Saying, what made you get rid of the A6700? Just price and weight? So here's my thing. Like I said, before I buy anything, I'm going to rent it for maybe a month or so. And so that's what the A6700 was. It was a rental. I do not, let me be honest with y'all. It is illogical to just buy a bunch of cameras for the sake of testing them. To me, that's dumb and it's a waste of money. I don't care how much money I get or how much money I make or earn. That's illogical. So I don't buy a bunch of cameras just for the sake of buying it, but I do put my money where my mouth is. Like I tell y'all, rent it, try it, see if you like it, and then if you do, you can buy it. But if I know I'm going to buy something or I'm just going to like it, I'll get it outright. So with the ZV-E1, I just bought it outright because I'm like, I'm getting rid of everything else. I'm going full frame and I'm going to work with the ZV-E1, and then if I don't like it, I'll sell it. So I'll put my money where my mouth is with this stuff. So when it came to the A6700, the thing is this camera came out after the ZV-E1. The other thing is that it is extremely close, that if price was the only concern, it would be worth it to switch it, because like I did the video on how to get, what do you call it? Product showcase, how to get a product showcase type mode. Ooh, I feel like I'm peaked there for a second. How to get a product showcase type audio quality on, or just that autofocus type setup. It's just really changing the autofocus settings, but I did that video on the channel. Okay, well, that's figure outable. What else is figure outable on the channel? Not on the channel, on that camera. The IBIS, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's got IBIS, great. It has active stabilization and standard stabilization, and great. But it doesn't have dynamic active. And at this point, I'm addicted to dynamic active because I'm not one of these people that has like an uber steady hand. I talk with my hands already. So when I'm holding a camera, like I'm vlogging, documenting a travel or something like that, or I'm going to do a new talk in a new city or whatever, I'm talking with my hands. And not only am I talking with my hands, I'm holding the camera. And I don't care how much I practice when I'm actually doing something is different. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm walking, and then too, so everybody walk different. I got this swing a little apparently when I walk. And so it's like just walking the dynamic active is a lifesaver, absolute lifesaver. So it doesn't have that. It doesn't have the product showcase mode. It doesn't have the other stuff that makes it easy for creator-centric stuff. It's very small, and unless you have the ZV-E10, because it's the only camera that has this stuff at scale with like, the ZV-E10 has all of the creator features, all of them. Whether or not other cameras get it is now a price conversation, or a, like, is it a hybrid central type camera, or is this more of a creator-centric, video-centric type camera? Okay, we know the ZV line of cameras are a video-centric type of camera. Well, I want to do the video-centric type stuff. I want the product showcase mode. I want the countdown timer before I start recording. So I get myself together. I'm going to be like this. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take my sip, whatever. And I'm like, okay. Counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's like, and then I can just start recording right at the bit and save a minute of time for my video editor of just me doing crazy stuff. Like all of like what I was doing. But, oh, let me make sure. No, like I can just right on the bit. Other stuff that's on the camera is not on the A6700 because the camera doesn't have it. So it doesn't have product showcase mode. So there's some redundancy of those on-screen camera options that come in from the side. I don't know if those are visible. I don't think those are visible if I turn on the settings on the camera. So I'll omit that. But the swipe from the left and right settings that can come on, those options are not editable. And so there's stuff that you would put in your swipe up and down, which is that quick function menu. Or if you just hit the quick function menu, that FN button on the back of your cameras, that option comes up at the bottom on all Sony cameras right now. Okay, we can just swipe and do that now. When I swipe up, those are all editable, but I have stuff that's stuck on the side that I actually don't need, don't want, and wish was not there that I could change on the A6700 that I can't. And so now I have to rethink how to create with stuff. I don't care about the extra buttons. It's irrelevant because I have menu options that come in from the sides, left and right. I have quick function menus that come up from the bottom. So those are all customizable. I have a main menu of like those gray boxes that you can adjust. If you've watched the videos, you know what I'm talking about. Then you have your My menu, where it's all of your favorite customized favorite settings. So you have unlimited amount of customization options, but the stuff that I want to come in on the screen is the stuff I actually want to use. There's only a couple things like that Cinevlog I wish I could take off. I don't use it. And some other stuff. So that way, if I'm getting 100% customization from the quick function, I want that. I want to adjust that stuff. I'm really not touching anything else. So I can adjust some stuff, and some stuff is redundant from because they just like, well, we got to put something there, so let's just put this there. So it was weird and annoying. And so I didn't like that. APS-C for like the same weight of full frame, I'm going to go full frame. And it's not a sensor thing. It's how much light comes to the sensor, right? So the sensitivity is better. In addition to that, freaking movie The Creator was made on this same sensor. So just skill level wise, there's a huge ceiling for me to grow into to whatever I want it to be. It's still there with the A6700, but in my mind, I see it bigger with that. And then two, if I got the A6700, what's coming next? And how long is it going to be before y'all make something else? Y'all made 3 lenses in the last who knows how many years. You made 5 different cameras, 5 APS-C cameras. This is Sony I'm talking to now. You made 5 different APS-C cameras that honestly, I think it was like closer to like 6 and 7 before we got 3 new lenses. So lenses is not something that comes regularly or has in the past with Sony. APS-C, we've been heavily reliant on third-party brands, Sigma and Tamron have saved us a lot. Zeiss has saved us a lot. Samyang, Rokinon has saved us a lot with that. They make lenses like nobody's business. I'm grateful to those companies as well. And so we got a lot of camera bodies back in the day, no lenses. Now we have lenses plethora through other brands. I'm grateful for that because the lens mountain is open. I have no complaints there. But I don't expect a lot of them. I don't expect of them to do a whole lot. The ZV-E10 Mark II, I would still be dissatisfied. I want dynamic active stabilization. 4K 60 I can deal with. There's some other silly stuff that was missing that tends to miss in the APS-C lineup that I want. When you're vlogging, you're going out, you're traveling, you're doing whatever. Imagine something that you want. And this is like the perspective I come from. You have something on your goal list that's been on your goal list for a really long time. And you finally have that thing happen. Matter of fact, it happens faster than you thought it would on your goals list. Hell yes, I'm vlogging that experience because this is something that's huge for me. I've had several of those things happen faster than I ever thought, and I'm documenting that experience. So I sometimes have to hurry up and capture something. I don't have time to think about settings, and I'm not necessarily going to put it on full auto, but I want auto exposure lock. I want automatic white balance lock. On the ZV-E10 Mark I, automatic white balance lock and auto exposure lock in combination was not available. Stuff that they pointed out now, like the creative standard profiles. If you have the Mark I, it's not there. If you had the A6700, A6700 was there too, but if you have the A6600, A6500, A6400, A6300, A6100, A6000, A5100 even. All them creative, this is not new. Creative standard profile stuff been there. What is new is that film looking one, and then I think it was like one other one that was new. Well, they still took away something that a lot of people like to use, which is neutral. It's not on this camera. So it may be on the Mark II, but it was stuff like that, like on the A6700, just small quirks that it's there, but I don't have this. This is there, but I don't have something else small. You know what I'm saying? And again, now at this present day conversation, as expensive as things are, why go APS-C? This is my thinking. Why go APS-C when I can literally get all of what I want in that creator-centric body style in a camera that already exists, the ZV-E1? So the A6700 does nothing for me but frustrate me personally because it doesn't have all the stuff that I actually like that's already there in the E1. So that was my personal thinking, and like, I want my camera to get out of the way as much as possible. That's why I hate smartphones. Me and my video editor were going at this last night. I kid you not. It's like we go over the stuff we need to be talking about, what's important, like what are some new like video ideas, stuff like that. He's like, man, it's like iPhone 15 Pro, and it's like we could be covering. I'm like, that iPhone 15 Pro can go to hell. I hate phones. Like, they get on my nerves. Will we cover one at some point? Probably, but I ain't gonna like it. Like, phones are great, just not indoors all the time. You look at any of the videos where it came out, compare the phone to the camera, the workflow sucks. The creative workflow sucks. And I'm not getting off that. That is the hill that they say that you will die on. It's just the hill I'm going to stand on. The creative workflow sucks. Yeah, you can post fast and whatever. I do recommend it. I've done mastermind trainings where that's where, like, I'm like, everybody pull out your phone because your phones are good enough. It's great. I just hate that workflow. It's not for me. So more than you bargained for there, Derek. What's up, Mr. Camera Junkie? Oh, text me when the stream is over. All right, text me when the stream is over, Mr. Camera Junkie. April, good to see you. Glad that you're here. April Clayton saying, have you tried the DJI Pocket 3? No, because it's another camera that's annoying to me personally. Will I probably try it at some point? Yeah, but personally, again, just me, the person, the creator, not necessarily the channel per se. The channel will probably have some content on it or what have you. Personally, I've tried the Pocket 1. I had that when it first came out. It's annoying to me because there are certain things, and this is just how I have learned that I personally prefer to create. It's not bad. The cameras are great. The quality looks amazing. It's not for me. So that's not something I would buy and like use and like, because I'm used to seeing a bigger screen. I want a bigger screen. Yes, it's pocketable, it's portable, it's hashtag all the things, and that's wonderful. Not for me. Because like on the Pocket 1, again, days passed, obviously, but can't listen to the video. You could watch it back, can't listen to it. No headphone port, no, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, because this does not fit the way I like to create. Now, does not fit like with my level of expectation. So that's just one of them things where I say, like, you got to know you. And I hate smaller sensor cameras. The only things I don't hate is a GoPro. Get your 32 ounces. You need about, which I found different than I did last time. What I say was like 2.11 something liters or whatever per day you need. No, you need half your body weight in water. So I'm like, oh, I need to add on to that. So I'm drinking my big dumb cup plastic container worth of water. So get you a sip in. But yeah, Pocket 3 is just not my jam. I'd probably try it. It'll be nice. It'll look fine or whatever, but indoors is not what I want. Live streaming is not what I want. And I don't want a bunch of cameras. I just want one or two that does mostly of what I want. And it'd probably be fine for vlogging. It would be great in an airport. It'd be great at a conference or an event. It'd be fantastic at like family events and stuff where you just kind of want to hold the camera and let it record without thinking about it. Pocket cameras like that are great. Like the Osmo Pocket, be perfect for it. It is a channel I think all of you all should check out called NBC NBC, like the news station. And I get it, news sucks, they lie, whatever, conspiracies, whatever, like hashtag all the things, right? Okay, now we're past all that. Okay, so NBC has a channel called NBCU Academy or something like that, or University. I encourage all of y'all to check it out. I just found it recommended through YouTube algorithm that says like that they're now like posting content or whatever. Check it out. It's super dope. Because what you're finding, and this will educate y'all a lot, and not just for education, but it'll be interesting. They use hella old technology. Like some of them still on DSLRs or whatever. Audio's trash on DSLRs. Not necessarily video quality, but the audio quality is. Stabilization, nothing to write home about. But if you look at what actually gets published to bajillions of people per year versus like what we get frustrated about, it just is enough to say like, oh, I should probably chill on this. Or you know what, this isn't that big of a deal. The one thing I'm learning and really falling in love with is audio on a whole other level. But to the point though, April, Osmo Pocket 3 is what they're using over at NBC for some of those walk and talk segments that they need in the in-between. iPhone 15 is what some other people that I follow that are into news and documentary journalism or whatever kind of stuff, they use the same stuff. So just may expand your thought as to what you could use. Go for it. I don't think anything's wrong with it. I think they're great. It's just not for me. Just not my personal cup of tea. I see y'all getting into football. I can't. Saying I think it's streaming through the Sony Xperia phones. Need to look into that. Good point, Luis. If that's the case, then no. But because that should be universal. If the only thing is that the ZV-E10 Mark II or any of the other Sony cameras, like you know what, now as you say that makes sense. They do have these Xperia phones that keep coming out, and I remember Jason Vong actually was like included in some big marketing stuff with them, like on billboards or whatever. It's pretty cool, or like posters and stuff, which is awesome. And so shout out to Jason Vong. He's been crushing it for a long time. And so I do remember him doing something about the Xperia phones. So I think you're 100% right, Luis. So I do want that. If I get any phone, I would get that one solely for that reason. Imagine going to Ecamm Creator Camp coming in October this year. I think it's already sold out though, so maybe too late on that one. But you're streaming, you're at an event, you're at a conference, you're at a workshop, you're at your own training, you're at whatever. Stream through your phone. It makes sense for it to be a Sony phone, it's their thing or whatever, but I would love to see that open up to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And phones need to come with a rear facing screen too. I've only seen like one, I think it's like a Chinese branded one that is. Saying, wow, LOL, sister states. I can kind of see it. Don't start it. Don't even start it, T Davis. Don't start it. Don't start it, brother. Don't start it. Don't start it. I had to look at some clips and I'm like, you know, what's funny is I do see it. And it's not like so much so like face wise. I'm like, okay, she got dreads, I got dreads. She black, I'm black, obviously. And it's like, okay, she got books. And I'm like, ooh, what titles do she have? And then like she using my language. I'm like, oh, she uses logic and reasoning. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I would say that. Oh, that's a good comeback. And I'm like, I'm getting locked in. I'm seeing it, and I'm like, I'm getting locked in. I'm like, I can't do this. And so, but yeah, Sister Sage thing. I'm like, that's hilarious. Mr. Camera Junkie saying, I use APS-C for video, full frame for photography. I like both for both. I like both for both. Saying, has the Ulanzi fan worked well for you? You know what, Luis? I'm going to bring you into a secret squirrel meeting right now. I only have used them out in public. Other than when I first got them, I only use them in public. And they otherwise sit charged in my bag or on the charging station of this bookshelf. They don't get used on a day-to-day basis. When I'm recording, whatever I'm recording, they don't. You know what I did? I had a thought, and again, my biggest thing is efficiencies in systems when being a creator, because I hate to waste my own time. Other people are welcome to waste their own time. I will not waste mine, nor would I let people waste my time. So I hate the battery life on those, because if you're having a long content day or you just need your camera set up, ready to go, whatever, I'm running into problems of battery life of the Ulanzi fan. They're great. Don't get me wrong. I love them. For what they are, and I do throw them in my travel bag because they're great. They take up no space, and they're USB-C rechargeable. Amazing. Metal. Amazing. Durable. Built to last. Built for tough. Out here in these real and digital streets. But battery life. I'm not going to be charging this thing, and I'm not going to tether a cable. I'm not going to tether a battery bank, which is what I tried at first, and it sucked because I needed to keep charging the battery bank. And I'm like, oh, should I get a L-shaped USB-C cable, which is a good idea, which I have with Condor Blue. I'm not finna do this. This is not finna be my life. So what I did instead was looked at how do I want my camera to be set up. I want, which is why I use those. I can show you here. It's on this other stand that I have. I use these Falcom F38 quick release plate things, if it'll hurry up and spin off. So I like to use these. Block my face. I like to use these because this is where it stops at, and so I can slide my camera forward. So if I'm making a video, let's put this on. I want to sit with my tripod like this, facing me, and I want to just I took this off of this one, and I just want to slide my camera forward. And then when I'm done, I want to take my camera off. Same thing with the live stream. I'm sitting here. Y'all saw me get up earlier if you was on when I first started, and I was like, oh, let me adjust something real quick. I want to slide my camera forward, and then I want to take it off like this, not to the side or any of this other crazy stuff. So I switched to those. And then I'm like, how can I make this more efficient? Because I have a dummy battery that's connected there, and I have the HDMI already connected there. I got rid of the tripod to make that more efficient, take it off the floor, and then I attached it to the ceiling in the closet so it's recessed. Now I'm floating. How can I make this better? Bought a cheese plate thingy. I'll have to, let me show y'all so I can stop saying thingy and this baba and this other thing. You know what I'm saying? Let me pull this up in real time. If I can find it. So it is a small rig cheese plate. Let's just call it something like this here. Let me make sure I clear my cart. Have folks in my business. I might need socks or something from Amazon. Let's switch over yonder. And sorry, Instagram folks, y'all going to maybe not see this as well. But this kind of a cheese plate deal. Okay, this one that you see like this, like $22. And so I got that one because when I look at it, there's holes everywhere, 1/4-20 holes everywhere, even on the sides and stuff. And so what this allowed for me to do is put my, I can show you, it's like right here in the front, I could put my plate, slide my camera on. Then I took a smartphone holder and decided that I'm going to get rid of the Ulanzi fan because I need something that runs for longer. You know what I got? A face fan, like just a personal fan for your face that people use when they're traveling, that has the air blowing forward and the battery lasts for days. Why? Because it's a personal fan. It's built for traveling. It's built for people. Took a smartphone holder, attached that to the cheese plate. I slide the what's the namer in there, and it runs for days. And it doesn't need to be charged, but maybe once a week. And that's what I use. I came up with this idea because, like I said, it was inefficient to me to do this with the Ulanzi thing, and so I did it that way. And so that's what I use. And I call that my airboat, my camera airboat. I can show y'all if you want at some point, or make a video on it, or a short or something like that. But it's a camera airboat. That's what I call it, because I watched. Okay, y'all get to know me a little bit more here today. I like to watch Swamp People, and Troy Landry and all of them doing the alligator hunting. It's amazing, but it's like this one son and father-son combo. They have an airboat, and I was watching this one day, and I was like, I could do that for my camera. I could make a camera airboat. It's like it has a little plate. It can house everything. Doesn't have to be too big. Put my plate on the front. Put a phone holder. Get a bigger fan, so it still would cover the rear. It doesn't need to be touching it. It just needs to increase airflow, because that's the only issue here. We're dealing with airflow. And I'm like, and then I don't have to worry about taking the fan down when I'm getting ready to travel, or I'm getting ready to go do whatever. I'm like, we're making an airboat. And so that's what I did. Made a camera airboat. So how well has the Ulanzi fan worked for me? Great when traveling. That's the only time I use it. Otherwise, I use my camera airboat that I made. Courtney Diva, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying, should I get a Sony ZV-1 as a beginner camera? So here's the thing with the beginner camera question. What do you intend to do? Like, what kind of content? Like, what kind of stuff, if you have the camera in hand? If I handed you a ZV-1 right now, that's the point and shoot version that everyone, if you're not familiar with that, what are you gonna do if I handed you this camera? What kind of stuff are you gonna make? Plan to travel, you're vlogging, you need some stuff around the house, maybe you're gonna do some cooking stuff, great. Just make sure you get some lighting, or use window lighting or something like that, because it's a smaller sensor. Has a microphone port. You'll be able to make videos indoors. I have. You can live stream. It has USB live streaming. It's fantastic. But if it's gonna be for more of a permanent stationary setup, you need to zoom in more, like how I have my stuff where you don't see all of my books and stuff on the side. Okay, well, when you turn that camera off and then you turn it back on, it does not stay at, let's say 22 millimeters is zoomed in where it should be. That's the best framing for your stuff when you sit down. You will always have to send it back to, and like adjust with that zoom rocker, like you see here. You'll always be adjusting it back to that 22 millimeters. It won't stay. Similar to like the kit lens now. I wonder if that new kit lens has that on the Mark II, where if you zoom it in, turn the camera off, and then turn it back on, will it go back to that same focal range? That's a question I have. But the ZV-1 point and shoot camera don't do that. So that's a little minor inconvenience stuff. It's not a big deal, but just something that you know that you would run into. I think the camera's great. I think it's fantastic. It looks awesome. 4K 30p, 1080p, built-in ND filter. Better than the Mark II in my opinion. What kind of stuff can you see yourself doing? And then know yourself too, to know what kind of things maybe would annoy you. There is a camera base plate similar to this one. It is back there on this shelf. So I was saying, I could go back there and get it, but I'm not going to. But it's similar to this. For the ZV-1, get one of these. It's by, well, you know what? I think I have a link for it. I'll put it in the chat in just a second. But it's like this. Get it though. Because what happens is it will move the part for it to connect to the bottom of the camera, so your battery door isn't blocked. So that's what that one is good for. If you get that, doesn't add a bunch of weight to it, but that way you can put your quick release plates on there, or just slide it into an Arca Swiss tripod or whatever, the ones that basically clamp from the sides and stuff. So that way, number one, it can do reposition that locking mechanism or whatever that tightens in at the bottom, that quarter adapter. And so your battery door won't be blocked. That's one frustration that a lot of people deal with. That quick base plate, camera base plate is what it's called. that solves that problem. I do have a link for that. I'll put it in the chat in just a second, and help his sister out. But I like that camera, but just let me know what kind of stuff you plan on doing, and I'll come back around to you. Saying I take pictures a lot with the ZV-E1. Recently started using the lighter Sigma 28 to 70 lens with the ZV-E1. The use case works for me. I watched a bunch of reviews, but your word made the difference. Well, thank you so much, David Hunt. I appreciate that, brother. Let me tell you something. Those are the unsung sneaker hit lenses that nobody is talking about. And it is that Sigma 16 to 28 f2.8 and their sister lens that's a step up from that, the 28 to 70 f2.8 lenses. They are bee's knees Hall of Fame lenses for full frame. So those are my jams. Courtney, real quick, I'm gonna drop this in the chat for you. It's dyna.link/ZV1 plate. It's not exactly like the one I have, but it's the one I would recommend. Oh shoot, we got a super chat. Shout out. Wait a minute. I don't have the my what's the name of Hooked Up More. Do I have my sound effects? Oh, I got rid of them. But kudos to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Super Sly 75 saying now I can't unsee sister. No. No. Shout out to the Mega Man profile pictures. That, you know what? It is what it is. At least she's a genius. I can concur with that one. You know what I'm saying? I can concur with that one. At least she is a genius. Okay? Shoot. Okay, let me find my place back in the chat. But David, yeah, the 16 to 28, 28 to 70, those lenses are bomb. Bomb.com. Great quality. Get you something like, depending on what you're trying to do with the photos, especially though for women. Oh, I found this a lot with taking photos in a church, especially you want to get those natural reactions and whatnot. Instagram comments, I'm coming to y'all in a second. I'm just seeing some more over here. Especially when you're taking photos of women. Women are very particular on like their best angle. So it's like, you got to gush them up a lot. Like, you're beautiful no matter what. Cause obviously it'd be true, but it's like, just gush them up anyway. It's like, oh no, you're beautiful. And it's like all sides of your great side. And so it's like when taking photos so they can feel comfortable and you can get those natural reactions. And they'd be like, do your husband know that everybody else get to look at you every day? Like, oh my gosh. And so it's like, I say stuff like that. And then you get that natural reaction. I'm like, oh, I know I'm the bomb. It's like, you get that photo, but a black Pro Mist filter, sometimes it take that hard digital edge that sometimes comes with photos off, or in the settings in the camera, I will go into whatever picture profile you prefer, and I'll still drag down the sharpness a little bit in camera because I'd rather add it in post anyway. But most of the time when you show them that photo, they want to see themselves looking the best than they could ever imagine. And so dragging down that sharpness a little bit, or putting like that soft skin effect, if you add that to like a quick function button, is a good way to like get their like amazing reactions and stuff for photos, especially like I said, if you're taking for women, stuff like that. So yeah. Say my problem is Sony colors. I had to sell my A6 in English. I had to sell my A6400 because of that. So here's the thing: color is skill, man. I'm not holding you against it. I get it. I came from Canon, and so it was like a difference. The other thing though too is color is your interpretation. And so when you learn that you can adjust it in your camera to what you want, like I found to dislike Canon colors for my skin tone. Personally, just for me, it looks great for everybody, but I'm like, and I loved it at the time because I hadn't experienced anything else. But when I switched over to Sony, and I'm like, I saw it was more like a reddish hue, and I'm like, that's a different way of seeing my skin. I hadn't looked at it before. Then I came to like it, and I'm like, ooh, it's like I actually wanted to have more of a pinkish hue because that is what I see and what I imagine when I look in the mirror. That's what I see reflecting back in real life. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Instagram. They got a stream cap? Oh, it is an hour on Instagram. My bad. Well, Instagram, if you got to go, you got to go. So we're gonna have to cut Instagram. But I'll snag those comments and we'll pull y'all into the stream. So continue without Instagram because y'all got to go, but I'll bring those comments up and hit on those in a second. So at least I got y'all covered. All right, so the A6400 colors though, again, it's preference. And so you can drag down the saturation, increase the saturation. If you like it to be in a certain hue, what most people don't know is on your camera, in your custom white balance setting, there is a grid that shows. Do I have my other thing hooked up? I might could show you on the what's the name over here? Maybe, allegedly, potentially, on the ZV-E10. Let's see if I can hook this up real quick. But there's a grid that will allow you to adjust. Do you want to take out some green? No, I don't want to switch to the camera right now. So I hooked it up, my bad, and just switched to it. You can take out some of the green. You're like, oh, it's too much of the pinkish hue. I need to pull that out. Oh, it's like, oh, this is too much of a greenish hue. You can pull that out on an X and Y axis for the coloration. Most people have no idea about that because they don't explore deeper into the settings, because they don't include freaking manuals for the cameras anymore, as they should, but they don't. But that kind of stuff is the stuff that's helpful to figure out, what do I need to know that I can adjust in camera? So there's a ton. So skin tones is just not whatever the camera sees and then you're stuck. I came to love the Sony colors way more than anybody else's. And then next up to that would be Nikon, surprisingly, which before I wouldn't have touched with a 10-foot pole. But let me see if I can pull this up here for a second on the second camera, if I can pull that. I think I got to switch from 4K to 1080p, but if so, then I will, and if not, then I won't. But let's see if we can do that. But those are the things with your color. Like if you look at my hand, slight pinkish hue, especially when you look at fingernails, slight pinkish hue, because that's true to life. It's true to life. There's pink. It's not orange. We're not orange. You know what I'm saying? Like we're brown with pinkish hues, reddish hues. You may be having some golden hues or whatever. So skin tone is more something that can be adjusted. It's not like the camera's stuck at that. For when I would record people of the caucus variety. No, just kidding. But if somebody's white though, and it's like I'm filming them, sometimes they look super flush unnecessarily through the camera if you don't adjust it. So when I'm adjusting the white balance, I'll pull some of the red out. It's unnecessary. It's like people don't need to look like they have rosacea or got hit across the face with a spatula. It's not normal, and that's not how they normally would look. But light refracting on the skin is different when you have melanin in your skin or greater melanin in your skin versus when you don't, or when you've been indoors for a long time, like we all were in 2020. And then we all were looking kind of pale because nobody had sun. And so it differs. So, you know what I'm saying? It just varies. You know what I mean? It just varies. I don't know what I can do. Oh, I know what I need to do for the camera. The HDMI info. Turn that to on. And then I might can show y'all. So let's do this in Hisson. So now you can see what some of these settings are, right? All right, so, or you know what, I'll do it this way. Let's make the camera settings big. I will do picture in picture. Oops, and we can do it that way. Now there you go. So what happens is on your camera, you have your white balance, custom white balance. Most people don't get this in depth with their stuff. If you're ever in a situation, quick pro tip, and you have like a conference area, event spaces, especially conferences and stuff. The lighting is warm. There's certain areas and environments where psychologically they want everybody to feel more relaxed. They want everybody to feel at home and stuff. So the lighting will be super yellow. That don't look great for us. And then you have a bunch of yellow pictures. Underwater auto, if you need to make a quick photo and get rid of a bunch of yellow and stuff like that, or whatever that looks really weird, underwater yellow is clutch for that at times. But you notice where over here in the Kelvins, this C temp filter, you notice where it says, can't really point this out, I don't have a pointer, but it says A minus B colon and then the number 0, or G minus M, and then it says M 0.5, because when I come over here, most people are used to adjusting your Kelvins to whatever your light temperature is, right? Well, you see that right directional arrow? This now brings up this grid that I was talking to you about. So the reason why mine says M 0.5 is because there's a magenta shift that pushes it closer this way. So let's see if I point this at my camera screen where it's a lot of colors, this other one, let me see if I can drop this down without being shaky.com. Well, just leave it. Let it sit there so it's less shaky, but it's on my camera. All right. So you see all these different colors on the screen, just whatever. Okay, well, let's take it away and push it more green. Now the greens and stuff. Oh, where's my tripod thing? Let me just try to not, I'm trying not to shake y'all to death. It's like, oh, that's too green, but all the greens are popping. So maybe if I'm doing landscape or something, I don't want it that depth, but it's like I may want those greens to pop more in the color shift. Or I want to pull some of the greens and make them less pronounced. And I want to accent, since this photo is more pink dominant, then I'll go there. Let's say it's like it's too blue, it's too cool. It's like I want to take it closer to the warmer part. Then I can adjust it and keep going to whatever I want. So my preference personally for me is to have this magenta shift of 0.5. And then that's significant enough for my skin tone. So like I said, when you have stuff like this in your camera, most people never experiment with this stuff. Most people never read the manual. Most people, which is fine, but that's why I do. Because we don't spend this much money on stuff to still not get what we want. That's ridiculous. We should absolutely get what we want. That's why I'm always into the whole branding of video simplified. So when you're taking photos, when you're doing videos, this works for both. It don't matter. But if you're also, let's go back, stuck into, let's go up here and you'll see how it adjusts a lot. Daytime, fluorescent, white, or whatever, or even, this cable's not long enough for this. Let me stretch this for a second. All right, I'm gonna move the screen, so hold fast. It's pointed at a light source. All right, so that's me. Oh, I can show y'all the thing now. This is my, this is what I was saying. Let me adjust that, take it up a smidgen so y'all can see. What do I have my stuff on? The aperture is, my bad, y'all. It is super shaky. Let's go active. All right, there we go. Let's calm it down. But you can see barely, let's go drop the aperture. That's, forgot, variable aperture lens. All right, but that's my, what do you call it? Camera airboat that I was talking about. Attached to the ceiling, off the floor, dummy battery, cable, hashtag all the things. Just like I said. So no fluff here, y'all. But let's point this white balance over here at the lighting source. It's fine right now, but if we keep adjusting it, notice how the colors around it look weird. If I zoom out some more, okay, colors look weird. Same things like I was saying, like if that brown is the skin tone of the person, it's like this is the kind of stuff that you have to be considerate of. So sometimes the white balance is a greater issue than everybody think. Oh, the color science. Color science is a word that everybody's overusing to hell right now. So it's like there's something to it, but your white balance impacts your skin tones more than most people think. But if I go back to, like I was saying, look at that brown door. See how it's starting to get more pinkish even in the shadows and stuff like that, or it's starting to get too green or something like that. Okay, maybe I need to pull some of that green out. It's really micro adjustments. It's not big adjustments, it's micro adjustments. All right, so let me go back to just me on screen so I can stop making y'all dizzy. But that's how that works. You know what I'm saying? It's easy. Camera stuff becomes easier when you know what is impacting this image. Why am I seeing what I'm seeing? You know what I'm saying? It's not just a blurry background. Does it have autofocus? All that stuff is basic now. If camera don't do that, like Fuji lenses, unfortunately, not lenses, Fuji cameras, they are not reliable enough for me personally. It's like that, but because that stuff is basic now. I shouldn't have to, like if I'm waving my hand, like back in the day with Panasonic and that contrast detection autofocus, every time I wave my hand, the background is having a rave party. It's like, are we in focus? Is this for us? I don't know what we doing. We should be ready. It's just like, calm down. It's like I just talked with my hand. You know what I'm saying? Or you got dreadlocks just popping. I was like, it's time for us. We were doing a rave party. Are we ready? Are we ready? And it's like, no, I just was talking with my hands. So yeah, but CTV, like I said, sometimes your white is not color science. And sometimes it is certain color shifts. And sometimes you can make no different than I do with my cameras now, so that all of my videos look consistent, especially like in here and stuff. You can make a preset. If you know you always need to make certain adjustments in editing, make a preset, drop it on in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not worth dropping a whole new investment, you know? AJ Trucker, what is good? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Saying I like your content. Why, thank you. Appreciate that. Saying I just got here, but I have this question. I need an answer. Let us go about it, my brother. Saying if I have a ZV-E10, should I upgrade? My main issue is for podcast streaming and sometimes vlogging. Okay, so let's break these down one to one. I'm gonna try not to make this a 30-minute answer. Podcasting, your experience will be enhanced because of 10-bit. So less like those, that light back there is an IKEA light, that little goldish yellow light, that's an IKEA light. Okay, I don't need a video light for it to be hitting off camera. Like, I'm not doing all that. It's like 20 bucks back in the day. It's worked great. I can change the colors. But in 8-bit, 4K ZV-E10 Mark I, like we have, sometimes you would see very slowly, it just will be rolling. You see slight banding because it's not a video light. So sometimes in certain scenarios, depending on where you podcast, if it's not always the same spot, let's say you travel and do podcasting or whatever, you can run into those scenarios. So it's just knowing how to fix those. Usually it's just blocking that light source like I did with the photos, a book, image, stuff like that, so that you're only getting the exterior of those rays. So it's not heavy banding. That's why it's like that. That's why the bookshelf is there. Is it worth it for podcasting? Yes and no, but if you're not doing a ton of stuff with color grading, if 10-bit won't make the difference, if it's not something you want to test, play, and experiment with, then it won't matter. Streaming, same rules apply. Most people don't know in the Mark I, the same camera we just finished playing with, that you get 422 8-bit. When you're using HDMI, as I was just showing you, unfortunately it was on a kit lens, so it looked like trash, but at least in that angle and stuff. 422 8-bit on the ZV-E1 via HDMI. I would always stream HDMI, just as I'm doing right now. We're in like the 422 10-bit and all that stuff on the ZV-E1, but it looks the same for the A6400 to the ZV-E10 to this one, because I don't want to change my streaming setup. I like it the way it is. I just switched to 10-bit and I adjusted for the, which is not in the camera, but not in the Mark II, but in this one it is, where you have the anti-flicker settings. That would be super helpful, and that would be clutch for podcasting and stuff. Unfortunately, I did not see that. I'm waiting for the manual to drop, honestly, guys. I'm waiting for the manual to drop for this Mark I, so certain questions I can get answered myself, because I'm not seeing what I need to see online with this. So there's that. Podcasting, streaming, probably not a huge difference, unless you wholeheartedly intend, like, I know I'm working on color grading, I know I'm working on this, and this is a big deal for me, my clients are asking for it type stuff, then yes. Otherwise, no. And sometimes vlogging. If your vlogging is 10% or less a year, not worth it. It's not worth it unless that is like a big significant 10%. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to do some amazing big goal thing of the year every year and that's the 10%, then at that point it's like, yeah. But most of the time the answer is no. It's not gonna make a big of a difference. If your vlogging is closer to like a 40-50% of your overall content package of stuff that you're doing per year, then yeah, it's gonna be significant. Because even though it's frustrating that it only has active stabilization, it's improved. It's improved. Now, how well that actually will look and how you vlog, if you vlog kind of weird like me and you talk with your hands and you sway a little bit or whatever, you may need to, you know, strengthen that up with Catalyst Browse. Here's another question that I'm not seeing answered online with what I'm seeing. On the Mark I, when you put on a non-stabilized lens, which some of the best vlogging lenses are non-stabilized, save the 10-18 f4 OSS lens by Sony. When you're vlogging on this camera, on the Mark I, if you put on a non-stabilized lens, you're not going to have standard stabilization become available. You must have an OSS lens to have standard. Hence why I use the 10-18 on the Mark I only for vlogging. So I don't know if that's the same with this Mark II. It could be. It may not be on, I can't remember on the A6700. I'd have to watch back the video where I think I talked about it. But I don't remember if it was on the A6700, but it's not like that, for example, on the E1. I'm going to go out on a limb here with a 5% chance of being right because I don't trust it. I don't think the A6700 was like that. I don't think. I'd have to check that video I did on it, on the ZV-E1 and A6700. I'm going to have to watch that video back of mine. But I don't know if that's the case for vlogging. So AJ, the chances of it being worth it is just like, and here's the other factor that we just got to be honest with ourselves as adults. Will it make you happy? Will you stop watching all these videos and like actually go make more? Will, you know what I'm saying? Like, will you be happier? Because that's just something that logically won't make sense. You know what I'm saying? There's no amount of, you can be like, well, I can use this for my business and I can use this for, like, you don't have to gimmick yourself. Like, you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to pitch yourself on it. If you want it, get it. At the end of the day, if you want it, get it. Because why do we work if we don't get the things we want? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're not working towards getting the stuff we want. The difference between the Mark 1 and Mark 2 is not the difference. Have you been making content for a while? You've been growing your brand. You've been growing your channel, growing your email list, growing your business. Maybe you made some money off of it. Have you at least made the money back from the investment of the Mark 1? Then maybe set that as a goal before you upgrade to the Mark 2 if it's not that big of a deal. So it's actually like, you know what I'm saying, kind of worth it at that point. It's like, okay, well, I made my money back in investments for whatever it costs, like say $600 or $800 or something like that for the Mark 1. It's like, okay, I made my money back. It's like, now it's worth it to switch and trade in the Mark 1 for the Mark 2 maybe, or keep it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I look at when I'm like looking at it like that. For most people, it's going to be a no. It's not really worth it for certain stuff. If you're tripod creating, it's not going to be that big of a difference unless you're paid for your work, unless you're paid to do X, Y, and Z. It will make you happy. And there is a certain surge that comes with being happy with new camera gear, which is why a lot of people have GAS, that gear acquisition syndrome. You know what I'm saying? So take that in consideration. So is it a need for it? Probably, maybe not. But is it a want for it? Highly. It's definitely a high yes. But let's be sensible. But then at the end of the day, will you probably end up getting it anyway if it'll make you happy? And you know what I'm saying? Then go that route. We're adults. You can get something to make yourself happy. Hell, if that was the case, some of our parents and aunties and uncles wouldn't have been punching each other trying to get TVs back in the day when Black Fridays was worth it. Like the after Thanksgiving Day sales. So Benoit Mandel, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying ZV-E10 Mark II versus the R50. I'm be honest with you, I'm not a big Canon R fan like that. The R50 is, let's pull it up though. Let's go for the gold. Let's go to B&H. Photo and videos. And my pricing, FYI, may be a little different because I have a different account. So let's do Canon R50. And let's pull her up. Alrighty. And if y'all enjoying the stream, you're getting value out of, make sure you hit the like button, okay? So R50 runs at $699 base specs, 24.2 megapixel sensor, APS-C as well, the Digic X image processor, okay? Still 4K 30, the dual pixel CMOS AF, which I don't feel like the dual pixel autofocus 2 with any of the tests I've seen. I don't feel like it's as accurate as that Mark 1 was. It feels more jumpy. That's just my opinion though. Get a viewfinder, very angle thing, 15 frames shutter, who cares? Okay, movie close-up demos. So they made their own product showcase mode, vertical movie mode, and then let's click on the old girl. All right, so much of this is still going to be just like a Canon M50. So let's not get it twisted. This is basically an R version of the M50, which I loved the M50 back in the day. Okay, so already, so I'm guessing that HDMI is not HDMI, excuse me, the SD card is still in the bottom of the camera. That sucks still. Like, it's always nice to have it when it's on the side though. Microphone port, cool. No headphone port, so that's already a ding in its category compared to the other one, the ZV-E10 Mark II. Let me move some stuff off of my screen. So HDMI, micro HDMI, that's consistent with most of these cameras. Experience-wise, let's talk about that. Experience-wise, it's going to suck for one major point with Canon. They refuse to open up their R mount to other brands. And I'm saying other brands in a big way. Grip is probably better, so kudos to them on that. That's probably way better. Can I get the back of the camera? Okay, so very much similar to like the M50 back in the day. So not a whole lot different. Let's see that top dial real quick. Custom. So I don't see a custom, just the, yeah, that sucks. So no custom setting on that one. Here's what I'm looking for. When you look at this dial, you'll see the video camera icon, and then you'll see the M for manual mode. What I don't see is like a custom one, like C1, C2, or whatever to save, like how we have the what's the name. So if that's very similar to the M50, that's going to suck. And not because I'm some Sony whatever something person. They don't pay me. If they did, I have a nice badge on my shirt today. Say I am paid by Sony. Get in with this. Shoot. But we are not paid. Not by Sony. So like experience wise, here's the thing. Fun is dictated by you at this point. Unless there is something in there to kind of like make that more fun. Fun is dictated by you. But like I said, the one thing that's going to suck is lenses. They just opened up to Sigma. And that's a couple lenses. That was like 3. So lenses wise, let's see like, hell, it's like Canon lenses, the RF lenses. And please don't get played on the whole, well, we can use the EOS R, not lenses. We can use the EFM, and we can use the EF and the EFS lenses. Nobody wants that stuff. That's too slow. I'm just being honest with you, because the difference of when you're creating and then when you are watching videos, it's a difference. I try to make those lines as close as possible to real life experience and what like what you'll experience in real life versus like what you see me do on YouTube, at least on my channel. There's a big disparity though. It's a big gap. What you'll experience in real life is looking for lenses or seeing somebody else have a lens. You're like, oh, can I get that lens in RF? And we're gonna be like, no, because Canon don't allow other people to use it. So 24 to 70, $2,100 lens, 70 to 200. This one's a dope lens, $2,500. Okay, let's get into the more affordable stuff. So you got the Canon RF 16 f2.8. That'll be dope. $200, not bad. Okay, you got the nifty 50 remade to the 50 f1.8, another $200 bucks. But the difference is, for some of these, like there's not going to be variety among other brands. That's the only thing. So 35mm f1.4. So this is now $1,500. Whereas let's say if it was with a third party, you might could find them for $5. You might could find them for $3 or $4 on a used market. Don't exist. You got a 28 f2.8 pancake. That's dope. But you're not vlogging on 28. That's hella close on APS-C. Way too close. And on Canon APS-Cs, it's a 1.6 times crop, not a 1.5 times crop like on Sony. Which is why you can put a 16mm lens on a Sony camera and a Canon camera APS-C, and it's a little bit wider on Sony. That's why the APS-C crop on Sony is a 1.5 times crop, and the APS-C crop on Canon is a 1.6 times crop. So let's see. Okay, so you got the RFS. So this will be the vlogging lens, 10 to 18 f4.5 to 5.6. It's basically, they didn't even lock it in at a 4, which is, you know, it is what it is. But I would have loved if that was locked in at f4. So that's nice. So now they've expanded it because they didn't have too many APS-C, but any of the Sigma lenses we've talked about, like the Sigma 18 to 50, Tamron 11 to 20, f2.8, the Sigma 10 to 18, f2.8, it's going to be a minute. So these are your lenses that you'd be looking at. You could get by. EFM is for the Canon M50, that M line. So let's just stay up here. Those are the lenses, kind of lenses that you'd be looking at. But with Sony, you are, hell, it's the one mount system, period. So, I mean, can you get by? Would it look nice? Yeah, but the thing, like I said, that don't get talked about a lot is your personal experience and what that's actually going to be like after you check out. And so one of the things that a lot of Canon creators are complaining about, and you can take this with a grain of salt because it's opinions at this point, in their experience, they still feel the Canon cripple hammer has been too aggressive, and more aggressive than other brands are with crippling their stuff, and that's across the board. And so there are certain features, not just like we talked about today, like, oh, it's 4K 60 on the ZV-E10 Mark II, but it's 4K 120 on the A6700. We're not talking about like little stair step stuff. We talk about more significant things. But if none of that stuff matters to you, you'll be well served with the R50. You know what I'm saying? But for me and my house, we're Sony. Like, I just found a home with Sony personally, but will the camera still be great? Would it still have some level of fun? Yeah. But you don't get a headphone port. I don't know how well with the USB live streaming, or if there even is one for real with the like at 4K potentially and stuff like that. So I can't really speak to it. Like, from that use case, I used the hell out of the M50. Let's go to specs real quick and let's take a gander. So we have H.264 and an H.265, great at 4K 24 and 30, so awesome. 1080p from 24 up to 120, cool. HDMI if you were to connect up for live streaming or for monitor, still gonna get 4K or 1080p, dope. You do not have so this is something you're not gonna know unless you know. So that SD card slot is for UHS 1 SD card. Those cards are cheaper. They're great. I can show you really quickly. You always know these because they only have the one thing in the bottom, but at the top. So let me show you. You should be able to see it even though I'm smaller. See that? See how it's just one? Block my face. See how it's just one? Hold on. There's not a screen real estate. Let's switch back. You see how it's just one here? Just that one row of teeth at the top, if you will. A UHS 2 SD card slot, which you will need in order to do 4K 60 and all the better stuff you see on these 10-bit cameras and all of that. You're gonna need one of these joints. UHS 2. See, it has 2 rows of teeth. You're gonna need that. So the fact that you're switching between the type of SD card, so your cards are gonna become more expensive. So that's the one benefit I will say. If you stay in that lower tier, you don't have the same data and storage and speeds problem because it's still within a doable consumer range versus now moving maybe into more prosumer or entry level something or more intermediate level professional type stuff. So over here, if we're looking at the camera, that single slot, just a regular UHS 1 SD card slot, that's what you're doing. USB-C, cool. Wi-Fi, okay, cool. I think it has the charging through the USB, I think, these days. LPE17, those are cool, small batteries. It's not their bigger joints. And then if we scroll down, video, like I said, we already talked about that. H.265 is gonna be the way to go for that one. Oh, okay, I didn't know it had a recording limit. So 60-minute recording limit. That only matters to you if it matters to you. If you're a speaker, that's annoying. If you're not, then it don't matter. If you're not a podcaster, it won't matter. 60 minutes, you can burn 5 minutes easy doing pre-test stuff or whatever if you just wanted to keep rolling continuously, or if you're including mistakes or whatever. I'm just one of those people, I'm past that. Like, I hate that. The recording limit stuff, which is like the one thing I hate about that Lumix S9. I like a lot of other things about it though, but 60-minute recording limit, so you're dealing with that, whereas no recording limit on the ZV-E10 Mark II. And then, like I said, all the other stuff that we talked about, and it's pretty bare bones basic for that. There's not a whole lot else really to talk about between the two. So video specs is heavier, greater in the sense of more of what's capable, but you can have the same amount of fun if you're not doing a lot. You know, it's like, honestly, the R50 is closer to the ZV-E10 Mark I than it is to the Mark II. So it's really not a comparison in that sense. So that's more so the thing. The video specs is gonna crush on the Mark II over that R50 all day long. It just is. It's no question. And that's not like being biased, but just so you know. But then too, buy what you want. buy what you want. And if you really like it, go for the gold. Official Keith in Texas saying, hey there, great content you're putting out. Why, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Glad that you enjoyed it. Saying, have you tried the Hasselblad X2D 100C? Absolutely not. Not up my alley. I'm not a photo person. Just not. But no, saying I'm a beginner. What I have to prefer Sony ZV-E10 Mark II over the R50. I mean, again, it's your personal preference. What kind of stuff do you tend to create? Is that 60-minute recording limit going to bother you or not? Is that any kind of content that you plan to create between now and the next 3 years? Think about that. What do you plan to create over between now and the next 3 years? Because if that includes like where I have a goal that I want to do X, I have a goal I want to do this and do that. If your camera is capped, not just recording limit wise, but if your camera is capped for the stuff that you want, it makes more sense to wait and save and get what you want, even if that's through Canon. You have the R6, you have the R7, you have the R8, and on and on. But look at your goals and what you want your stuff to do, and then go from there. That's my professional opinion. So let me get to these questions I saw real quick that were on Instagram before we had to disconnect at the 1 hour limit. Speaking of recording limits, saying I sold my FX3 for the Sony A7C Mark II. Couldn't be more happier for a hybrid camera. Saying the FX3 is amazing, but I needed both photo and videos for branding my content. Then not sure about this new Sony camera release. I mean, FX3 is great. Again, and A7C2 is great. Again, that's one of those things where it's not a spec thing. It's how you intend to create things. It's your intended use case, you know? So if your intended use case differs, then that camera won't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's like it could be Bees Knees Hall of Fame and you'll still be unhappy with it. So there you go. Rich Young III saying, are there any in-person classes, name of it, when in order to host a podcast and all the other things that you have to connect to make that possible? I am not sure exactly what you mean. Am I doing any in-person classes? No, not anytime soon. The last in-person stuff I did was earlier this year, and then the end of last year was the last in-person teaching stuff that I did. And I never advertised that stuff on the channel, really. It's like you may hear about it on the live shows like this, but you'll never see me like necessarily promote it. It's like if I'm speaking someplace, then obviously I'll be doing something in person. If there is an event like eCamp Creator Camp, like I went to last year, then at that one I was a camp counselor, so that was different. I wasn't teaching per se, I was just hosting a group. So if there's issues, somebody run into stuff, need help content creating, but that was like super fun. Then it's like I would do that in person. And then teaching wise, it's like usually if I'm teaching, it's not, I haven't hosted like my own personal, my brand of like in-person something. That is something I want to do, but it's not something that I have done. It's usually under the auspices of somebody else's business or organization. The only thing I have coming up, Rich, is, and you can reach out via email or what have you, go to support@dianagladney.com. Only thing I have coming up, like I showed y'all, talked about last week, is the live cohort, which is virtual live in that sense, called Creator Jumpstart. That's coming up. James is asking, can I use the A6700 as a webcam for Discord calls? Yes, because you can do that via USB-C if that's what you want, and do that at 4K, 30 frames per second, or you can do it via HDMI, and whatever stuff you have access to on your camera, you can do that way, like whatever you want. So yes, it's possible. Let's see here. Saying, what is the best monopod for sports video? I'm using A6700 with Tamron 70 to 2000. What I would recommend is actually not what I personally use. My use case tend to be a little different, but I can show you. You want something where for sports, because you're switching, number one, you have weather. Weather dictates speed of stuff that you need to do and where you need to go. And sometimes, like if the field is wet, if there's a puddle of water, stuff like that. Or you have a designated photo area or safe area or something like that, even if you're doing like track and field. And so when you look at it from that perspective, there's certain things that I would look for in a monopod that needs to be there, which would throw out some options. And one of those being the foot pedal thing. I'm trying to think. I think it's iFootage that makes one. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Freaking that. iFootage. Is it? I'm looking for it. So over yonder, I'm trying to look for it. I think it's this one. Yeah. See how I kind of have that foot pedal joint where you can tap your foot down? Actually, let's just click on the photo. And so that bit, number one, it's like a quick release thing at the bottom. So if you need to leave that stationary bit, run for like where people are celebrating after they win a such and such game, and maybe they're now going to a championship, or maybe now they're going to state, stuff like that. So you might could leave your foot pedal thing and you just need to go mobile. So that kind of stuff is helpful just to have that quick release system at the bottom, which is why this makes this dope. But the other one is that foot pedal joint, so that as you're leaning and stuff like that, you don't need to reach down and screw or unscrew anything, unlike with other models. So this I like. And then the other thing, which I have tried this in person, that I like about this is I don't like the twist grippy things, because that's slow. Sports is fast. High school activities or something like that, or even college, is fast. You do not have actions get repeated. You know what I'm saying? So you have to capture it as it's happening. So like I said, that foot pedal, great. The switch to quickly adjust it to go high or lower, that's what I would recommend for that one. I'll throw a link to it in the chat for you, but that's what I would recommend. And then get you whether you like a fluid head type video one, or if you want more of a photo one, or if you want like that, it's almost like an L bracket that kind of swings that you'll see in photography and stuff. If you like that kind of a stuff, then you can do that kind of ball head, or video fluid head, if you will, or something like that, or photo base. I'll drop that in the chat for the link to that iFootage one, so you can grab that one. But that's what I would recommend for like doing, because anything that's not repeatable, you don't want to miss it. Doing any high school, anything, you miss that moment, it ain't coming back. They're not going to repeat it, and definitely not in that same way. Do you know if you can lock the white balance? I don't. The white balance in the ZV-E10 Mark II. I don't. I hope so, but I don't know. I would think, I feel like that's a 70-80% yes, but I don't know. But you can't do it on the Mark I. I would hope that's something you can do in the Mark II. But again, we're looking at weird stuff that's getting cut off for no reason. For no reason. I would love if you could. I'm hoping. I haven't seen it yet. Like I said, that's one of the things I'm gonna have to either wait until somebody publishes that video between now, but if they have made any other videos past the embargo one and stuff, which I think most of our fellow creator friends have, but as far as I know, don't know. Waiting to see that, because that is a big issue for me. Saying, what's the lens for talking head content for the ZV-10? So on an APS-C camera, how much space do you have in the room? Don't worry about the sensor. How much space do you have in the room? Because with any lens that you're going to use, you want to think about the minimum focusing distance. And what that is how close can I get to the edge of that lens before it can no longer acquire focus on me? Autofocus or manual focus don't matter. That's what those numbers on the front ring of the lens is telling you. It's like, you can only get these many feet. You can only get these many meters, right? So how much space do you have? Because some people, like, you have your desk, maybe let's say that's like 3 feet or something in front of you or whatever, but you have you're literally having a wall to your back, so you can't scoot back any further, or your desk is all the way pushed up to a wall, so you could sit back, but now you hella far from your desk, and that's weird. And so what's the minimum focusing distance for the lens? The brand that has the best, Tamron, incredible minimum focusing distance, because you can get up to macro level, which I can get like uber close, super close, and you'd still be able to see it. Let me know if you want to see that. I just have to get up and get my Tamron lens from back there, and I can show you on the ZV-E10 Mark II. or Mark 1, excuse me. I don't have the Mark 2 yet, but that's what. So think about that. Now, based on how much space you have, how much of a blurry background do you want? Or do you not want it to be blurry at all? I tend to recommend starting looking at the Sigma 16 f1.4 is still going to be a goated lens for the ZV-E10 Mark II, because you don't have to leave it at an f1.4 and then you have it an infinity blurry background. You don't have to have that. Increase that aperture, that f number, to make it less blurry. Send it up to 4.5 or something like that. You just have to adjust your ISO. Now you have, even if you're in a small space, it's going to look uber wide. Okay. But you can always use clear image zoom on that lens to go to 20 and 22 or 30, you know what I'm saying, type millimeters or something like that, or what have you. So think about that. Let me see what we got here, because I showed y'all before on this one. Switch over and then, all right, so let's zoom out. So even though, like, I have this, actually, okay, so you can't see it. I was trying to make sure I'm not in the way. You see that line, that white line right where I'm zooming up to? It's like, okay, now I'm at 27. Now I'm at 37. Past this line, that means I've done as much as the physical lens can do, and anything beyond that is now into clear image zoom, which you see that C and that plus, and it goes 1.1, 1.5 or whatever, because I'm in 1080p on this particular camera right now. And so then it's like, okay, now it's in clear image zoom. But as soon as I get off of it, then I'm back into, what's the name? Okay. And so now with clear image zoom on a 16mm lens, you can use it up to 1.5 times in 4K, up to a 2 times crop in 1080p. So clear image zoom will still be your friend. Feel like 16 is too wide, you can go to somewhere around 20-ish or something like that. Okay. So that's what's possible when you're looking at that kind of stuff with your lens, but use your kit lens to figure out what that needs to be. I'm finally doing that video. I recorded it. My video editor has it in the queue so that I can show y'all what I mean by that. It's like, put your kit lens on, set it up. Even if you got a camera right now, put your kit lens on, set it up, sit it where you actually set your camera, and then sit where you would normally sit. How far away is that? How close is that? Use the kit lens as you saw on this one. When I zoom in, you'll see that number. It's like, oh, that's 30mm. I'm not moving it off the computer. It's just sitting on a laptop right now. You'll be like, oh, that's the framing that I want. Okay, then you know you need a 30mm lens now at that point. If you zoom it back and you like, oh man, it's like I need like a 23mm. Now that's what we know we need focal range wise. The aperture is just more based on how much of a blurry background do you want. And as you can see, we're at a f4.5 right now. I can only get down to this f3.5 if I'm zoomed all the way out. We don't want a variable aperture lens. It's no point in paying extra money still for a variable aperture lens. We want the full bee's knees Hall of Fame. Okay, so that's some stuff to consider. Then how are you getting zero noise or hiss on that mic? Why would it hiss? Or have no why would it hiss? Let us see. I will share with you. Is it crisp? So I mean, number one, I switched, like, I used to use the Rodecaster Pro and then the Rodecaster Pro 2. Takes up too much space on the desk. Vocaster sent me the Vocaster 2, so I started using that. But there is noise with the just it straight in my environment. You got military base, they always want to fly jets over. Y'all stopped hearing that stuff a long time ago, right? You want to know why? It's because I switched to using crisp.ai. So hiss, I don't know nothing about no hiss. I never had hiss. But noise is based on environment. If I was in a quieter space, like sometimes I have been out of town, I don't necessarily need to use crisp, but I'll throw it on because it just gets rid of noise. I have my niece and nephews over here. Okay, hella loud at times in the house. Can't hear none of that stuff. I was able to make content, made a video last night. But I use crisp.ai. Go to dyna.link/crisp. I will drop that in the chat. Diana.link, if I could spell my name right. But this is great for this reason, because any noise that does not sound like my voice, that is not my voice, doesn't come through. Now, this is web-based. I wish it wasn't to a point, so you do need internet connection in order for this to work. But what happens is, you know what? Let's cut the music. Let's cut the music, and you should be able to hear this example.
Thank you very much for reaching out. What can I help you with today? I'm sorry to hear that. Can you please provide your name and address so I can check the status of your order? Okay. Give me a second to check on that.
That is not usually with these companies. The demo on the website is not what your experience is like that for real in real life, or some of these audio-based companies or whatever. Crisp is legit. It was Mr. Camera Junkie in the comments that told me about this a while ago, and he's like, "Miss D, man, you gotta try it." And I'm like, "Man, I don't want to try none of that stuff." And I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Let me switch and let me try it out." So as you can hear, you don't hear anything. I tried to, so you could hear the noise, even like, can I share with you what it sounds like without the crisp? All right, so now this is just the Vocaster, and you should hear, like, it should be way noisier because this is without crisp. So I can cut that down a little bit, but the mic's still it's gonna be louder or whatever. You do get some presets and stuff from the Vocaster, but it doesn't impact how much noise I actually have in my space. And like, my voice is still the same, but plane kind of coming over right now. Yeah, got a plane. Okay, so now let's switch to crisp. Air conditioner on. Ceiling fan is on because it's hot in this room in the summertime. So all of that stuff is on. Crisp gets rid of it. So I don't have to worry about turning my ceiling fan off. In the wintertime, I had a space heater over in the corner. So it's dope. Freaking love it. I use crisp.ai. So, well, let me turn the music back off. So here's this example real quick. Let's do the crying baby, because I feel like a lot of y'all got some kids.
I was informed only yesterday that we should participate in a conference that's coming up
That baby's
next month.
crying.
I've already shared my screen with you, so you can see all the requirements.
So his voice does sound a little more like I would like to describe it as pixelated, and like you'll hear that digital artifact, but there's no weird stuff with my voice. I like it. I love it, honestly. I use Crisp for a ton of stuff. When I was out of town, and we had this big furnace thing, it would come on, it's like, it's like this, like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's gonna ruin the audio. And sure enough, it did. And then I'm like, what am I tripping off of? I have Crisp. Turn Crisp on, amazing audio. Except for the one time I forgot to turn it on, and then it was sucky. So that's a thing. So there you go. Saying thanks for answering my question, and the link, I want the Sony ZV-E10 for vlogging. Yep, you'll be well pleased. Get that base plate thing that I was talking about, and then what else? The wide angle adapter lens thing is cool. And it's not that big of a deal, you know what I'm saying? But if you do want like a wider thing, like, that's a cool addition. I kept mine on there for forever until I sold my ZV-1. That glue from whatever, like that 3M sticker or something that goes on the front, excuse me, worked fine. It didn't break the lens. That little bit of extra weight didn't impact the way it was able to retract the lens or anything like that. As long as you take care of your stuff like normal, you'll be great. It'll be fine. It's perfect. It's great for traveling, fun in the airport. One feature I will put you hip to that you'll love for vlogging: if you close the screen, unplug this one real quick. If you close the screen, like, see how it's on right now, close the screen, the lens will retract. But I didn't turn the camera off. It's a setting in your cameras, even in the ZV-1, Mark 1, 2, ZV-E10, Mark 1, 2, don't matter. I will do this while I'm traveling because I don't want to turn the camera off, especially like on a plane. I'm finna get me some good ugly sleep, and then I'm gonna wake up and like, all right, let's get this vlog going. So I just flip open the screen, and now it's back on. So I don't have to turn it on and off. I don't do all this stuff. I just set that setting in there, camera go to sleep. But another fun fact, so this is the pro tip on top of the pro tip, just half press the shutter and the camera wakes back up, screen is still closed, and now you can vlog. Like, if you just need to record something, but you don't want the screen flipped out, because sometimes you get put in a weird scenario where, like, people are looking at you and you like, don't look at me, I need to secretly vlog. I love to do it this way. All your Sony cameras have these. And so I just hit record and you can start recording even with the screen closed and stuff like that. And then when you flip it out, it's already on. I love to do that for vlogging. It's so fun, inconspicuous, so that'll be a fun thing. Please show us your airboat. You're smart. Thank you. You're so smart. I appreciate that. Where's a better? Do I have a better lens that would work? Maybe not. I just need to adjust the settings on this camera so you can see it. But yeah, that camera airboat, fun for me because I don't have to think about stuff. I love efficiency, systems and efficiency. So let's see. Move this cable up some here. And there's a freaking gnat in here. I hate them. Get on my nerves. Oh, right, because I connected it. Let's see here. All right, wake up. All right, can I do 4K on this one? Let's just swap over. All right, so trying not to make y'all dizzy. So if we zoom in, it's hard to see because it's dark. We got a variable aperture, so let's decrease. Let's increase the exposure. So I just want y'all to see the darkest parts, okay? See that bottom part? That's just my quick release plate. Like I said, the battery and stuff like that. And then the fan is right beneath it or right behind it with the, what's the name thing? So that's all it is. It's nothing too fancy per se. And I used a ball head to, it's like a GoPro ball head that I had from a gift. I used that. So that way I'm able to just slide my camera forward and I'm good to go. So when I want to get ready, when I take my camera down, I'm ready to record regular videos someplace else in the office or whatever, I can just slide my camera off from the front instead of clamping it down and putting pressure on it, whatever. And those GoPro ball heads, it's not GoPro, what do you call them? Joby. The Joby ball heads, they're super strong. The grips are amazing. So the ball heads are super good for Joby. So I used a Joby one that came with a Gorilla Pod. And so I put that ball head so I can angle it in like an L shaped. So even the camera airboat is on a quick release plate. So I can just slide that off and put it on something else if I want to, or add another one underneath, which is why all the different little port things were fun. Maybe I'll do a dedicated video on it or what have you. Iman's World of Geek, is that right? Wait, that just blasted in my ear. I don't know if that blasted in y'all ear, but that got hella loud. So I'm like, whoa, that was loud. What the hell happened with that one? All right. I had to check the music on that song. That was hella loud. Saying, I just found your channel while searching cameras. I'm looking for a camera for vlogging and streaming. Which is better bang for the buck? The ZV-E10, the Mark 1, or the Mark 2? It's always a matter of what is your intended use case? How do you plan to use the camera? Because if it's tripod, most of the time, you're gonna be doing podcasting, gonna do some live streaming, and any of your content that you're making in your home office, studio, someplace else in the house or whatever, is mostly gonna be on a tripod or a monopod or something like that. You don't need it. You don't need the Mark II. There's nothing to suggest buying one. You know what I'm saying? It just may be a want, but it definitely won't be a need. Is vlogging going to be more of the thing? Then the answer will probably be going with the Mark II, because the active stabilization is improved. Now, I just used active when I was showing y'all my camera airboat, but that's what it's for. Handheld, be steady. You want it to be closer to like a tripod type like shot. You know what I'm saying? If you're recording somebody, doing a piece to camera, you want to just be stable. You want to do B-roll and just kind of record like product shots or something. For video, active stabilization is amazing for that. As long as you take it slow and just be easy with it, you know, you're gonna be good. It's not great for vlogging. I made a huge mistake with vlogging. It was on accident. It stayed on. I was out of town. I'm in a plant shop. I just got the camera like this. And so I'm recording because I'm like, yeah, so this is what's going on behind me or whatever. Just like that. That was it. I wasn't walking. I was just like this. and that screen looked like we was going through the Matrix. Do you hear me? It was warpy and wobbly like crazy. It's crazy. It's garbage. But you do have access to Catalyst Browse, which you just would need to do in on desktop. That's all. If that is more annoying, you got too many clips, it's not going to be great or fun for you, then the Mark II would make sense. If vlogging is going to be more of a 40-50% of your content ecosystem, if you will, it makes sense to get the Mark II. Honestly, the price is close enough. Day one, just buying it, unless you find a steal of a deal for a Mark I, just get the Mark II. It's honestly, it's kind of like the same thing where people ask a lot still at one point, should I get the ZV-E10 Mark I or should I get the A6400? If your emphasis is video, go with the Mark I of the ZV-E10. It just made sense. It's more set up for that. You have product showcase mode. You have eye autofocus. You don't have eye autofocus on the A6400. You know what I'm saying? So stuff like that. So if you're just buying one day one, drop that extra $100, get the Mark II, and just go for the gold. You're gonna get better performance, better anything. If any updates come, it's gonna be on the Mark II. They're not updating the Mark I. I'm just giving y'all the unfortunate pill to swallow right now. No more updates are coming to the Mark I. We didn't see any to begin with. Like, whatever you buy, expect it to be exactly what you bought. The best is always going to be the Mark II over the Mark I. But there's still something to be said about the quality of what you can get. Good lenses, 6K downsample to 4K, or whatever on the Mark I. So, like I said, if you want to see like quality of what the sensor can do, go check out Becky and Chris's YouTube channel. And just type in like Becky and Chris A6400, Sony A6400. They do some amazing stuff. You know, so it is what it is. Kombucha in the building saying, who we talking about? The Boys? That show is doing a lot. I don't watch it. I just watched the clip because my brother was like, you need to watch the stuff about Sister Sage. Like, that's you, that's your doppelganger. And I'm like, let me see. And sure enough, before I even knew what the heck was what, somebody commented after the stream last week and was like, oh, Sister Sage. And I'm like, who is that? I didn't even reply at first because I'm like, I don't know what that means. And so I finally watched it. I'm like, I kind of see it a little bit. Shoot. Saying sorry, came in pretty late. No worries. It's all good out here in these real and digital streets. And I like Sony colors for video and shoot all photos in RAW. That is something that would have been cool to see is RAW video, just like across the board. For all Sony cameras, they would have got a lot of people. Saying I'm late, I'm going to have to go back and watch this. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover. Saying salute to the white chocolate for the, that was the M, oh, you're talking about the magenta 0. So the white balance stuff that I was showing you earlier. Like I said, that's even on the ZV-E10 Mark I. It's on all the Sony cameras. All of them can do that. Even Canon, you can do that on there. You can adjust it. So then I have a question. Chat Night Africa said, I have a question. What settings do I do on my ZV-E10 camera to record while live streaming? Okay, look, getting distracted with the snap. Sorry, fighting for my life over here. You need to make sure it's some HDMI settings. So let's go over to the ZV-E10. All right, so when you go into your menu, you want to go into your HDMI settings. So first and foremost, I'm only showing this, let me take your question off real quick. I'm only showing the HDMI info display so you all can see the camera settings as I'm doing this stuff in real time on this Mark I, but you don't need this on for when you're doing it. Okay, so you want that HDMI info, set that to off. What I like to do is come up here to the HDMI resolution. I don't leave it in auto, and you definitely don't want to do that 1080p, 1080, not P, you don't want to do that 1080i. That's that interpolated. If you ever saw videos from way back in the day where it looked like lines are going through them, or even if you watch Swamp People like I love to do, which is where the camera airboat idea came from, then you'll see some of the initial episodes when they're on the airboat or they're on a boat and they're going really fast, and you look at just the screen, you see like these lines. It looks like strips of video. That's what that 1080i is like for. We not there no more. We don't need that out here in these real and digital streets. So I like to do the 2160 1080p, which is the best that you can get. So I like to adjust that. As far as you want to do 24p or 60p, I already record all my stuff in 24p, so you can. But if you're going to do even 30, I still would put it in 60. I like to do whatever it's going to be closest to. So if you do 1080p 30 or 4K 30, then pick the 60p instead of 24 for the HDMI out. And so those are the settings there. And then when you have it connected up, it needs to be in 4K before you connect the HDMI cable. So that's something you unplug the camera, because this 4K output select setting is not going to be available when you if you're not already in 4K. Freaking that. So then once you have 4K selected in the camera, you want to do memory card plus HDMI. Because if you're in the memory card plus HDMI, that will allow you in your Sony cameras to not only live stream, but also record. So where this use case becomes amazing is like when I'm doing a talk, like when I did the talk for E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, which was like an incredible opportunity. And I've had several opportunities to speak for his organization and in his organization. It's amazing, an amazing like experience. You know what I'm saying? I used to watch his Thank God It's Monday show at work because I'm like, I need something to keep me going. You know what I'm saying? Focus on my dream instead of living a nightmare. You know what I'm saying? So to be able to speak in his organization, huge opportunity. Of course, I recorded my own video on the A6400. This setting is available there as well. So you want HDMI plus the memory card. Then start with a clean memory card. I cannot emphasize that enough. Start with a clean memory card. So that way, when you are doing your stuff, you don't have to worry about it like running out of space. And that's it. It's not a whole lot to it. It's just those couple adjustments to make sure that you're going to get what you want, and then you're good. And furthermore, if there are times when you need to record versus times when you don't, what you can do is save that as a My Menu picture profile. So the My Menu, excuse me, let's pull this back up. So the My Menu is not this one that I'm talking about. Actually, let me take me off the screen. When you go into your camera, you see that memory recall. It says like in the top left corner where you see the camera, where it says MR1 and it's like a camera icon, the letter M. That stands for memory recall. And what that does is when I hit the quick function menu and that bottom right icon, which I have a whole video on how I set my camera up and optimize it for video. All the cameras that I've tried, I didn't post the one with the A6700, so that's the only one that's not on the channel yet, but we'll get that done. Over here in the bottom right, the shoot mode is on memory recall. Why? Because I want to save my camera settings based on whatever it is that I like to use the most often. And so I have that set. If we go over to the right, just gonna click off for a second. Well, you can't see it now. Yeah, you can't see it while I have the HDMI connected, but I've shown this on video before, but unfortunately you can't see it, but that's where it's at. And then it'll show me all of my camera settings and stuff like that, but that's where that's at. So unfortunately it does not work that great for HDMI. It doesn't like it. It kicks it out, kicks that signal out. So that's why that works like that, but that's your setting that you want. Oh, did it take me out of HDMI info display? Oh, I got to turn it back on. All right. So that way you can see the icons again, but that's how that works. And that's all you need to do. It's not a whole lot. You just need to make that small adjustment and then you get to go. I like to put at least a 256 gigabyte in there. HDMI info turned on. Okay, cool. I like to put at least a 256 gigabyte SD card in there, because what that'll allow me to do is get all my Q&A, everything. And so when you're in that setting, don't get lost in the sauce of what you're doing. if you need to do Q&A, this is a great pro tip for micro content. Make sure that you have your stuff set up great for the audio, everything. If you got like Ecamm, you can bring your comments on screen, like I was able to bring yours on screen and stuff like that. Okay, well, you want to make sure you restate the question. So if I wanted to repurpose this for micro content, I could say, okay, so Chat Night Africa is asking, what settings do I do on my Sony ZV-E10 Mark I camera to record while live streaming? Okay, well, Chat Night Africa, here is exactly what you want to do on your camera, and I'm gonna start it off like that. So that way, number one, I'm thinking about what I'm planning to do after this stream is over, or after this presentation, or whatever that you're using that setting for, or even a podcast. So if you get into like Q&A type stuff, just take that into consideration for that, and that'll work great for you. Absolutely no commentary saying hello. Well, hello. I'm guessing that's for video game. I love no commentary video games. I actually was watching the old school one before the stream started on X-Men Legends 1, back on a PS2, one of my favorites. So what type of brand of fan is on your airboat? It's just I don't even know the name. It's like a personal fan. I just looked at to see what kind it was. Here, I'll show y'all. You see all these different ones? It's not like this. It needed to fit the format. And I needed to make sure that it had enough space. So like this one with this, that's what it is. Jisoo Life, Jisoo Life, whatever this brand is. I think that's the company that makes it, because that looks super familiar. But you see how like that one is too big, boxy, and square. It would be too big for a smartphone. So it's not that one. They have another one. It should be a personal fan. Let me see if I just click on the brand, if that will pull it up. But it was something like whatever the name of that thing is. Shoot. Okay, not a neck fan. And you know what? Amazon Prime Day is coming up. So let me find this off screen, because I want to see y'all. You want y'all to have to worry about me scrolling for eons. But Prime Day is coming up, so you probably be able to get it for way cheaper than I did. And if I make any more airboats, oh, here it is. As soon as I could click off, this is it right here. Oh, 42% off. What do you know? And it's okay. This makes it even worth it. I don't remember paying 24 bucks for it. I definitely wouldn't have spent that much money on it, but this is the one that's like juice sweet. Okay, I don't know how you pronounce that. Jisoo Life. Just keep it simple. This is what I use on my camera airboat, and the reason why is so and I went through a ton of these to just see which one would be worth it. So number one, the air blows forward, not out the back of it or something like that, or whatever. It's different directions that you can choose when you're working with these different fans. Number two, the button is on the front. So since I'm loading my camera from the front, I wanted to also turn on the power button from the front. The USB-C port don't matter, because this runs for days. It's a much bigger battery than whatever you would see on any of those other places. So I'll drop a link to this in the chat. But yeah, man, it's dope. I love this. And so the other thing is that it has 3 levels, which I wondered, like, dang, will I have to do like the highest level in order for the camera to not worry about overheating or something like that? Nope. I run it on the lowest level, because all the camera needs is additional airflow. That's literally all of any overheating camera, or any point of video resolution where the camera is overheating. It just needs airflow. It needs to breathe. And so in order for that to work, you just need airflow. It's got a 2000 milliamp, which is almost like a small battery bank. And so that's why it lasts for days. I recorded a lot. Yesterday I had my camera on, I had a meeting. Earlier this week, I had all kinds of stuff that I've been doing a whole week. I haven't recorded my shorts yet for the week, but that's another something where I don't need a fan. The airboat is just for live streaming and stuff. And because it's the summer, we have these heat waves and stuff. It's hella muggy and stuff. The other thing that I liked was that on and off is from the top. So it met all of my requirements, and this is what I use for the airboat, and it's plastic and it's lightweight. So I'll drop a link to this in the chat if y'all want to pick this up. But this is what I use. This is exactly what I use. Same color, all of that. So that's what I recommend for that. Like I said, maybe I'll do a video on it if there's, I guess, enough interest for it. But I just thought it was something I was solving a problem for. I didn't think nobody would care that much for real. But if y'all want to see a video on it, it's like that stuff, my Amazon Alexa things that I use to make content creation that much easier. I mentioned that at the last of the video I recorded yesterday that may come out Monday. It may be done by like Sunday, but it probably come out Monday. And so it's like 7 accessories you need to get for the ZV-E10 Mark II if you plan to get it, or even the A6700. And so I mentioned at the end of that video, if y'all want to see like the Alexa settings and stuff that I use for content creation that makes life easier. And that could work with anything that you like for smart home stuff. Saying thank you so much, Diana. It's Diana. It's Diana. And so, did y'all not see that? I think oh crap, I may have went to I was in I'm in live mode now, but on eCam you can hit preview mode. So let me go back to the camera fan just so y'all can see it real quick. But this is the one that I said that I use. And so it has all the requirements, it has like the 2000 milliamp hour battery bank or whatever it is on the inside. Not battery bank, but it's like a battery on the inside. Button is from the front, so when I load my camera on the front, I can just hit the on button. It has 3 levels. I actually use it as a personal fan when I'm not using it if I get hot. So it has those 3 speeds, and then you load it from the front, and it's just the right width for a smartphone holder. Just use a plastic one. You don't need nothing special. Some you probably get from Dollar Tree. That's not $1 anymore, but you know, it is what it is. But it's super quiet, so that's the stuff that I like. As you can see, it's like 20 to 30 decibels whispering. This one is in that 30 to 40 range. Quiet countryside and all that stuff, like which I tested this as well. So it's right up there with what's the name of. So it's cool. But I just use it on that first speed, and like you can see, 14 hours. If you're doing 14 hours of content creation, or your camera is just running that long, this is why I made the camera airboat. I would love to like make it into like a whole thing, but it's just me being me, creatively solving my own creative problems. And so that's why I made the camera airboat, to add more airflow, be efficient, has all my quick release stuff that I need. If I'm doing anything more than once, I'm only going to do it. I'm going to figure out a way I need to do the set it and forget it lifestyle. I'm only going to do it once. So Falcom F38 plates, cheese plate, have that on there. I use the small rig AC dummy batteries because those are great from a reliable brand. I like those. HDMI cable, all of that stuff like I showed y'all earlier when I showed y'all the camera airboat, fan, smartphone thing. Bob's your uncle. Saying crisp is awesome. Oh, saying crisp for the win. Gotta go. All right, Mr. Camera Junkie, text me, brother. Saying thank you so much. You're very, very welcome. Wait. I think I missed some stuff. Okay, let me catch back up to the chat. Okay, I'm catching up. I lost my place in the chat. Okay, so Tim Brown was next. Saying, do you know if you can lock in? Okay, I answered that. Answered this one. Zero noise on the mic. Talk about that. Talk about crisp. Also no 4K 60. Again, but if 4K 60 don't matter, like I only use 4K 60 when I'm doing B-roll stuff. So we have that option in the edit, or the offshoot, like when I was doing something, recording my buddy mixing paint and stuff to test the 4K 120. Then at that point, I want that option to have super slow motion. But even on the ZV-E1, we don't get dynamic active stabilization in 4K 120. So if we had 4K 120 in the ZV-E10 Mark II, it probably would still be without dynamic active because it's not in this one. So now 4K 60, let's say you get active stabilization in that mode, great. We wouldn't get it probably in the dynamic active if the camera had it in that one. So 4K 60, I think that's it's not what you want. It's like, you know, the sensor is capable, so you wish you had what that sensor is capable of. But honestly, if we're being 100% honest, it makes sense because most of the ideal target audience that's going to use that camera is not going to exceed 4K 60. They're just not. Most of the people aren't. And if they do want to go, they know that they have already pushed them to go up to the A6700, FX30, ZV-E1, or elsewhere, in the either whether it's in their lineup or someplace else. But so, you know, that's what it is. Saying thanks for the details, information. It is really helpful. Like your content. Thanks. You're welcome. Very, very welcome. And Sturt and Co saying thank you. My pleasure. Glad to be of service. April saying, do YouTube notifications tend to get turned off without the user turning them off? It seems like they get reset by YouTube. I stopped getting them for several channels. I think YouTube is broken when they start to do these updates, like y'all may have noticed on YouTube, where all of a sudden, think back like a couple weeks, maybe a month, you watching a YouTube video, whether you're on desktop or mobile, and all of a sudden you got all these freaking gnats or a gnat that's just terrorizing me today. All of a sudden you have thumbnails, rows of thumbs. Can't find the comment section, and then when you finally do, it's over in the far right section. I'm like, what the heck is this? So you can't find a description. You can't find it. It just was big video chiclets of here's some more thumbnails of more stuff to watch. Annoying as hell. That's the one and only time I've submitted a complaint to just like give feedback on YouTube. I'm like, y'all need to turn this off. Leave it on for everybody else if they love it. Please stop this. I want to engage in the comments. I want to talk with people when I'm watching, or like I'll tell y'all, like, no commentary gameplay. I like to jump in the comments and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's a live, I want to talk about it. I don't want to see all these extra other videos. I'm already hooked on a video. So I think when YouTube does this kind of stuff, other things get broken, whether it's not going to get announced, but I think other things at times get broken. So I don't doubt that, April, that at times it's like notifications is on, sometimes it's off. I don't trust the bell. I don't trust it. It's like, y'all just got to take my word for when I say, if I'm saying I'm going live at this point, this time, just hook in with me. I haven't sent emails about anything in a long time, which I'm about to rectify that. But that's the way most people found out that when the live stream would be, if it's actually happening, what happened on the blog, where I'm going to be at in person. Here's the new updates that you need to know for X. It's the email list. And so that's how anybody would honestly find out anything for my channel, because they weren't getting notification, even with the highest bell notification stuff on. I just don't trust the bell. That's why I don't ever click it. I'm just going to pay attention to either that community tab that's been more reliable for creators you follow versus the bell notifications, honestly. And then just like if they got an email list, hop on the email list. David saying crisp is awesome. I might have to get it again. I have the sewer line running right over my head in my new space. When someone uses the sink or the back, I can let me tell you, same. I don't have the sewer line running over, but it's funny, my nephew was over. Man, this brother will not, I don't know how old, he's like 7, 8. I know he's gotta be like 8 or something now. Old enough. Brother slammed the toilet seat and just like, and I'm like, yo, like I can, if I wasn't on Chris, I'm like, we can hear that in here. I'm like, so I understand. Or especially like if the walls are thin or something like that, so I get it. But yeah, crisp is great because you don't hear any of that stuff. I just wish they had a mobile version, or if they made something specifically for cameras or whatever. I would love, like, if they had some kind of a like app version or something I could hook into my cameras or whatever. Because the DJI thing is good, but it still sounds weird. The audio, in my opinion, sounds worse. So I'm gonna have to go back to using a lapel mic, which I didn't want to do. But I just wish crisp had something. Saying keeping my ZV-E10 until I get the A6700. That's a solid choice. Nothing wrong with that. Brooklyn Capo 1, solid choice. Found a used ZV-E10 for whoa, that is a steal of a deal. $300, yeah. If it makes sense, it makes sense. And I'm still using the A6400. Same stuff as the ZV-E10 Mark 1. So you're not missing out on less quality. Remember that it's 6K. Downsampled into 4K. It is a super crispy image. You still have S-Log2, that's gradable. Most people don't pay attention to this stuff in the Sony cameras, but you have Cine 1, you have Cine 2, Cine 3, and Cine 4. Start playing with those picture profiles and don't just get locked in an S-Log2 or S-Log3 or whatever. Really start to dive into that stuff. Go on Sony's website, excuse me, and you will see they tell you this picture profile is best for this environment. This picture profile is best for this environment. So sometimes, like when I'm on the ZV-E10 Mark 1, if I went out to the park and I'm doing a video like I've done a couple times, and I need increased dynamic range, but I'm not trying to do S-Log3, those Cine profiles come in handy. So start experimenting with that stuff. It's dope. Eric, good to see you. Glad that you are here, saying hello. Hello, my brother. Peace and blessings to you. And thank you so much. And this is where we introduce you all to the magic of the Ecamm, because even though, let me hook up my thingy baba. Where is it? Where's the paper? Here it is. Even though I mispronounced, you misspelled my name, I forgive you. Okay, D-I-A-N-A, just like the Princess Diana. What just happened? I plugged in my loop deck and it messed up my image. What are y'all doing? No, loop deck, what did y'all do? This is not normal. Okay, switch to that loop deck. Let me unplug the loop deck then. Will it go back fixed? All I did was plug in my loop deck live and now I'm split. I've never seen this before. Okay, so I don't think I need to unplug my camera. Let's switch to the, because I have it turned off, the ZV-E10 footage. Then I switched back. The loop deck broke my freaking stream. So now we got to do a 50-50 Diana split. Now I'm frozen. Now I'm not. All right, loop deck. If I do the just me, second angle, just me. It's not working. E plus a sight. Loop deck, how dare you? Copy of the screen share view. Yeah. My bad. I'm just trying to click to get this to, what the heck? So now I gotta sit over here for the stream. Okay, let me unplug the camera and see if I can get that to work. Cause all I did was plug in my loop deck, which I've never had this happen. And I gotta, we'll be right back after these weirdo messages. Let me unplug and replug the thing. Hold on. All right, let's see what we got. Are we normal now? No. Which way do I even sit? Shoot, there's not even something I can fix in Ecamm to fix it. Zoom and crop, maybe. But I can't even. And then it's got my glasses looking weird. Like, you see all of this? The loop deck, what did you do? Okay, if I turn it, loop deck broke the image. How is that even possible? Okay, what if I completely stop the loop deck? It's unplugged. I've unplugged and replugged up the camera. It broke it. The stream is broken now. Now I'm gonna look weird, like I got lip gloss around my eyelids and I gotta sit over to the side. So this is where we're at. This is where we're at out here. This has never happened before. All I did was plug in the loop deck. I was trying to show one thing. Or should I sit further over here since we have more real estate? This is dumb. How dare you? Loop deck broke the stream. My apologies, guys. Well, let's get through these comments real quick, if those will even still work. Saying the Sigma lenses. Let me get through these comments and then I guess we're done for the day. We'll see. Best bang for the buck for APS-C. Yeah, the 1.4s are dope. I found a 16 f1.4 for $200 used. Hell no, picked it up. That's an amazing deal. That's dope. All for under $8. Wow. So keep an eye out for Prime Day. That's a dope deal. So do you guys think the kit lens and an 18-105 lens is good for a starter? Again, it always depends on, just because you're a beginner does not mean that, and I feel stupid having to sit like this. Just because you're a beginner does not mean that you are stuck using certain lenses or whatever. It depends on your intended use case. Well, this is crazy. Yeah, the image is glitched since I used, like, even unplugging and replugging is not work. I'm trying to think of what else to do. I'm beside myself right now. All I did was plug in a loop deck and it just broke the stream. Well, that's wild. All right, ChatNet Africa is saying, what time is your show on Fridays? Usually it's at 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. Today we pushed it back an hour because I had something else I'm doing for her, so we'll see. Sam Macros, what kind of video are you wanting? Okay, answer that. White Balanced Goodness serves white chocolate and the Wheel of Wonder. Not doing it, not doing the Wheel of Wonder. Saying if it's indoors environment, you can alter, like, your lighting should be pretty good. I think you're answering his question. Saying last question today, where do I put my ISO and aperture when live streaming in low light and in bright lights? Here's the thing, your camera settings are always going to be based on your environment. This feels dumb answering this like this, but it's just like plugging in the loop deck broke the string. Don't know what else to do. So your settings are based on your environment. So if I showed you my camera settings on the ZV-E1, the settings are based on what works best. So if I hold my hand up, well, this is not even going to work. This is not going to work because it messed up the image. See how crazy my hand looks? Skin looks weird and blotchy. Got this blue stuff that I think I'm gonna kill the stream, y'all. I think we've been for 2.5 hours. We may have to come back for. This is ridiculous. I am beside myself right now with insanity. I'm gonna cut the stream. We'll have to do a Q&A video or something because I can't sit like this. Literally, so far. We're in the rule of one. We're in the rule of one right now. So yeah, this is I don't know what else to do. You saying unplug the Elgato and plug. Okay, I'm gonna unplug the cam link and see if that'll work. This feels dumb and ridiculous. Let's, oh, gosh, just my luck. Where's the cam link? All right, she's here. It's like under the desk. Bro, this is too much playing around. I'm too grown for this. I gotta get under the desk. Y'all just finna deal with this, okay? Talk amongst yourselves. Say how great you've enjoyed the chat while I go under the desk to unplug the cam link and plug it. You know. All right. Still not fixed. It didn't work. Okay. Still nothing. Yay, nay, never nay. Oh, it worked. Oh. Be glad I've been trying to get this weight off. Boy, I would have been stuck down there like Chuck. Great suggestion. Everybody give high five, golden stars to Dusty for saving the day, because we was about to be stuck. I'm leaning to the left. All right, let me get reorganized here. Good Lord. But we're not plugging up the the loop deck no time soon. All right, you know, feels slightly ridiculous crawling under the desk in the middle of live stream, but live to drive, saying unplug. Okay, we got it situated now. Alrighty, so shout out to y'all for, because I was gonna call it for the day, but appreciate you because I'm like, I can't sit. Let me show you what I was doing. I'm like, rule of one. We were in full camera conspiracy, but this is how it was in order for that framing before. Shoot, so ridiculous. All right, and I think I'm late for another stream with my friends I'm supposed to be on. So let's get through these comments real quick. Okay, so what? I feel so immature right now. I'm like, let me crawl underneath the desk. It is what it is, you know? We out here in these real and digital streets, okay? What time is your show on Fridays? 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's about it. Okay, so this was the question you had. Where do I put my ISO, your aperture, and stuff like that in low light? The thing is, your settings are based on your environment. Just because I'm indoors doesn't necessarily mean it's low light. I think low light gets blown out of proportion of what a camera is capable of and whatever, because you're always gonna have light. you're always going to have light, whether that is something you bring or whatever. So if I hold my hand up, you should be able to see just from the tilt of my hand directly towards the light and stuff like that, starting to look more overexposed. But I'm back here, just that slight difference. And now you can see detail and stuff in my hand without any hot spots. Hot spots is stuff like there. You see how like got oil on my forehead and stuff? See a shiny light there, lights here, and lights here. These areas are what I call hot spots. Those are the hot spot areas centralized on most people's faces. As long as you don't see infinity white with no detail, no color tone, as long as you don't see like those going to like infinity white, and I just use like the hand test for where I'm sitting, where my light source is, decrease it, diffuse it, and then I just do the palm of the hand test. Can you still see details in my hand? And then two, what do I need my shutter speed to be sometimes for that? So my shutter speed now on the ZV-E1 differs because I'm at 119.9 on the shutter speed to be into that anti-flicker mode, so you don't get any banding and flickering with that light from IKEA that's back there. Okay, well, otherwise you would see banding. It would be slow, but you would see it. You don't have that issue, or the ceiling light even. The other thing is I have another light source that's coming from the side. You don't see anything. You see more details that way or whatever, but you don't see anything, so the room could be brighter. But I also want you to be able to see that light and see those fairy lights without it looking like, again, infinity white. You can't see details or whatever. It is blurry, but you still should be able to see it. Same with that pink light. See the details, but not take over the shot. You know what I'm saying? So your ISO is going to be based on the environment. And then what creative look are you trying to get? Most people try to over-explain stuff. They try to get what's the word I'm looking for? Overcomplicated unnecessarily. Your ISO, your shutter speed, all that stuff is based on your environment. When I did the shots for that gimbal, for the Cinepure gimbal by Zine, okay, well, we needed to use still 119.9 for the shutter speed to avoid banding. He didn't have video lights. We needed the ceiling on. We also needed the ceiling fan on because that room was hot. So I'm also needing to use, because he was like, he's pale, he just shaved his hair. These are all real-time environment stuff that you or I or anyone else would deal with, whether you're recording somebody or you're recording yourself. He had just cut his hair. His head is bald. He was like, well, my scalp and all that stuff. He's like, I just went bald. He's like, it's pale. So it's a difference. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, the best dynamic range I'm going to get is the S-Log3. I need to also make sure I have plenty of light so I can adjust for that. You don't have to use S-Log3 or whatever. You can use basic stuff. But I'm also like, I'm going to use one primary key light. I am going to use the ceiling light. And then I'm going to use his lamp in the corner to warm up his skin, since he's going to be closest to that. So I'm putting all this stuff together as I'm actively in that room. If you actively can bring in those different 3 lights or something that you may need, fine. But if you can't, you're working with your environment. I'm like, close the window blinds, but leave it open, and let's use that sheer curtain. We're going to use some sunlight. White balance to get everything locked in, so everything's the same temperature, and adjust the white balance like I talked to y'all about before. And then from there, now you get your image. And that's what you saw in that Cinepure gimbal room. ISOs vary. When we went and did the shots indoor versus outdoor, settings change because the environment has changed. So your settings are based on your environment. That's why, to a point, the videos is like, here's the best settings for X, Y, and Z is kind of BS, because your settings are based on your environment. It's helpful so that we can teach y'all that stuff, because that's what you search for. But more or less it's BS, because your settings is based on your environment. If I put any one of y'all in this chair, the settings are going to change because your skin tone is different. You may be dark skinned, and we may want to increase so that it's not like a super dark, like you say, I like black shirts. You can still see the quality of the shirt. It's not just like a jet black. My hair is black and brown or whatever, but still see my hair. It shouldn't look like an infinity jet black unless you want it to. Even the chair, different level of black, but it's going to your skin refracts light differently. So it's stuff like that. A little bit maybe over somebody's head. I get it at times, but That's what goes into it. It's no proper settings. It's no ISO, I can tell you. It's based on your environment. But sit down where you're going to sit. Diffuse your light. Like, I don't know if I think I unplugged it. I'm not plugging that nest out because if I got to sit in the rule of one anymore, we just going to kill the stream. Saying Ecamm rocks. Love Ecamm. Saying, it's good. Thanks, Steve Davis. Okay, T. Davis, appreciate you helping on the chat as well, brother. Saying you need to unplug. Okay, we got it. Okay, I said restart. Okay, that was it. Saying, are you using a capture card? Yep. So I appreciate y'all, Josh. Okay, I'm gonna hop on our stream in a second, but you saw what I was dealing with. Okay, I was having a time. We're having a time. Okay. So my go-to is now that 11mm f1.8. I like that lens a lot, and it's way more awesome than I want it to be. It is dope because I'm like, tag 11mm is super duper wide, but that is a bee's knees haul. I have no qualms with that lens. It is so fun. And I love the button. All lenses need a button for video if that's the emphasis, or vlogging or something, because setting that button to record, so you're just holding the camera like this or whatever, and then you just hit the button on the side to record. Oh, underrated feature of the century. Underrated, just like super basic. Just setting that to record is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And no Wheel of Wonder, best news Australia. So if those of you that are new here, the Wheel of Wonder is a game we play when I'm doing giveaways, like we did last year. K-Walk Comedy at some point has offended the Wheel of Wonder, and so she don't win. But it's fun. So one to remember. You know what? It definitely will. And please don't y'all be clipping this from the debacle earlier and be sending me like, hey, guess what happened on Diana's stream today? It's like, I'm okay. I hope YouTube analytics tell the truth. Okay, saying this has actually been kind of funny. Said when I was at her paint, I had similar. I have never had that happen before, or the split screen thing. Never seen it before in my life. That's what I'm like. What do we need to fix? What do we need to unplug? What's happening? At least the audio was good, but I'm like, we'll be right back after these messages. Let's go under the desk and adjust the cam link since y'all recommended that. But and I'm taking screenshots to send to her later. This is why I don't be on Instagram like that. It's hater raid city, you know? No, just kidding. Send full camera conspiracy. Rule of one. That now we will all have an inside joke. If you were here on this, the rule of one is real out here in these real and digital streets. And you're not late. We got time. Okay, cool. Milani, or is that Melanie? Or I think it's Milani. Knox, let me know how to pronounce your first name. Saying, hey, good to see you. Glad you're here. I think it's Milani. I think that sound better, or sound right better. Saying, hand pink waving and a lot of waving. Good to see you. Hello. Y'all have missed the drama, or maybe you caught it. Saying, wow, you're a dynamite. A maestro, I think it's right, of cameras. What time is your show? Yeah, Eastern Standard Time. Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm trying to think like, so 11:45 a.m. I think that's, let me look at this thing. So 11:45 a.m. is, if you're in like New York and stuff, is 12:45 p.m. Hawaii people like Doc Rocks at 6:45 a.m., which is ridiculous. If you're in Los Angeles or whatever, it still says 11:45, but that's not right. Can't be right. Yeah, but it should be 12:45 p.m. I think. No, is that Pacific or Eastern? I think that's Eastern. I'm freezing at the moment. Like, okay, so if you're in like, trying to think, I have certain states as to what helps me remember. Is like, is that Eastern or is that Pacific? Okay, Spokane time, so that's 2 hours in advance. So like Pacific Northwest, California. So that would be closer to like your 9:45 a.m. If you're in, I think Florida, it should be just 1 hour's difference. But we're also in like daylight saving time, and so like Arizona, for example, is different. So that's I think that's going away this year too. So saying the blue coloring makes you look like a really? Yeah. Really? Okay. We got inside jokes on the stream now. All right. You know, I can take it. It's like you got the superhero strip, like wear glasses, take your glasses off, nobody can tell. Or wear like the superhero eye band strip, nobody can tell who you are. It's like off of The Incredibles. I said, damn, I didn't realize I could program that lens button to record. Thank you. I'm telling you, Bees needs Hall of Fame. Gerald said he needs a bed. Okay, cool. Let me know, Josh. Said I just found you the day before the announcement. Love your presentation and how you covered that camera preview. Well, thank you so much, Dusty. Dusty Road Destinations. Appreciate that. Glad that you're here. Saying 12:45 Eastern Day. Okay, so that's about right. About an hour's difference. We are in daylight savings time, so yeah. But Pacific, if that would be like 2 hours, so that would be like your 9:45 a.m. and stuff. So that's good. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Because I'm in Maryland. Okay, cool. Thank you, David. Because I just have a little thing on my computer. I just click and I'm like, or I'll say, you know, like to the ALEXA person, what time is it in such and such? Saying, yeah, I'm in Arizona, no daylight savings time. It's 1:30 p.m. right now. Okay, so it's 3:30 p.m. right now here. JFK Production saying, good evening, oh wise one, Miss White Chocolate Gladney. How are you? I'm doing amazing. JFK, if you're just joining us, you missed out on quite the technical challenge that we ran into, but as you are the last comment, y'all know I answer all the comments on the show, but we ain't got no more. So we finna wrap it up because I went way longer. This is not going to be a 5-hour energy live stream. We've been going live for 2 hours and 40 minutes with all the hiccups and stuff in the in-between. We're not doing a 5-hour energy live stream. If you're new here, the 5-hour energy live stream is where I would literally stream and continue answering questions for 5 hours. It's only a few creators in my creator content circle that have hit that 5-hour energy live stream, and it is quite a feat, but it came because doing these Friday live helpcasts, people would have issues. It used to be on the genesis of this show, especially like in 2020, which is when I developed the show. I would give y'all a link so you can join. So I would do the Diana.link link, change whatever it would be to say / whatever on the end, put that link on. And if you had issues with your camera, what I would do is let you all call in. And so with the magic of Ecamm, I could let y'all come in, I could share the screen, and you can have you share your own stuff or like be on your phone. Show me the settings, show me what issues you're running into, and I will help you with that in real time in your space where you're like, I got this device, I don't know what this goes into here. And I'm like, you see that little piece there, you plug that into this and you do whatever. So we used to do that stuff in real time. So that's the genesis of this show. And so then it just transitioned into just answering all the comments on every live stream. So even if you have to dip out and go back to work or whatever the case is, you get your question answered somewhere in the show or what have you. But yeah, that's what we used to do. I've been thinking about bringing it back where people can hop on live, but then you got people like K-Walk Comedy that's got something to say about dark chocolate or whatever. You know, it's a white chocolate world, and you just need to get with it, K-Walk Comedy. You just need to get with it. See how we converted JFK after all these years? Converted my brother, you know? But we've answered all the questions, guys. I appreciate you being here live, or whether you're watching this on the replay. We've had some fun today. A camera debacle I definitely won't be forgetting anytime soon. And we'll be back next Friday at 11:45 a.m. Central Standard Time for the live show. If you got questions, I got your answers. So come on to the Friday Live Helpcast, and I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.